What up?
Hey, I know you guys. What's up, my friends?
I know you guys. What's cracking?
So pumped that it's game day, that it's on. I feel like we've been
I'm more
talking about
nervous
this
than anything.
forever. Yeah, man. No, locked in, like game day. All the
It's game
nerves
day.
disappear when you walk onto the battlefield
Handle
or
key.
something. I don't know. I can't
First
back
of
that
all,
up.
I think we all have to say something about Mike's mustache. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, shall we?
That's right.
Dang, bro, the sexy
How
elephant.
good
in the
does
room.
that look, dude?
Let's take a look at the handlebar in the room. Yeah, it feels pretty good. It's freeing. It was getting too hot for it anyway. But yeah, we went full Edwin here. And that's because of all the great donations that came in. I think we had something like $350 as soon as I announced the beard thing. So
Yes.
yeah, shout out to everyone. What are we at right now, by the way?
We are $35 short of doubling our goal. We are at $1,965. I would love, before we start this adventure, to hit 2 G's and just double our goal. But maybe they're just gonna make us dance for it. Dance Monkey, amuse us for that $35, right?
Please. We will sell our bodies for those $35. Please. That's what's up.
I sold my beard.
You sure did.
Very nice. That's right, dude. You sold the beard. We still have some people who are kind of trickling in.
Yeah. So I think we got to wait a few minutes for the peeps, right?
What was that?
I said I think we got to wait just a few minutes for the peeps. Is there anywhere on here where it says how many people are joining us?
In the top right, it should tell you how many viewers are. I'm sorry, top left of your screen.
It does not, but that's okay. That's all right. You're the boss. It just lie to me and tell me there's like either 3 or 3,000. So either tell me 3 so I'm not nervous, or 3,000 so I'm like, damn, I'm good. Don't tell me anything in between. I'll just feel bad about myself.
It's currently 3, but we're gonna get to 3,000 if we wait a little bit. So
we're currently at 3. Basically,
3 of us?
It's Mike's mom streaming, Mandy streaming in the other room, and then my wife streaming in the other room. So that's our 3 viewers right now.
Yes. Well, you know what? I don't care if that's all that it is, and I'll tell you why. Last time we got in the 40s, right? And that was great. But at the end of the day, both times we raised good coin for great causes, and that's really what it's about. We just get to play D&D. If nobody's watching, we just get to play D&D, record this thing, and throw it up another time.
Yep. That's right.
Dennis' wife Mandy made some victory cookies, and Corey dropped them off for me, and I felt like it was perfectly fine to eat them already because, as far as I'm concerned, victory already happened. Oh, we're at 2,001
and $1. Cliff,
for the dub.
Cliff putting us over.
Cliff, you're the man. I can't. I don't even know Cliff all that well, and I feel like we're homies. Cliff just delivering.
He is.
Thanks, guys. For real, that's awesome. This.
Last year we did. Or I always say last year, it was a full calendar year from
6 months ago.
Yeah, it was 6 months ago. We did it for the CNY Food Bank, which was a lot of fun. And we were able to raise $2,600 for the local food bank, which was amazing and kind of jaw-dropping when we got to see that facility. We got to see how efficiently that thing is run, huh?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Super impressed.
So we want to do it again because so many people gave us such positive feedback about it. So we figured this time around we'll switch up the DM, switch up the organization, and we'll put together some more sweet giveaways.
Word.
So I'm excited.
Yep, brand new characters this time, a whole new story, another new one-shot, this time from Candlekeep.
Yeah, man. So, listen, what time we got here? Let's do this.
It is 7:05.
So,
Mike,
how do you...
as we start, do you want to do the giveaway for the Wormwood gift card?
Oh, sure. We basically said that anyone who made a post on social media, Instagram or Twitter with a hashtag Dungeons and Donations, we would automatically enter to get into this $25 Wormwood gift card giveaway. We had a bunch of people do this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll a D10. I have all the names here. They're not necessarily in order of when people made their posts or anything. They're just kind of random. But I am going to roll a D10 and roll 20. Corey, can you bring that up, or
you want to see the pool thing again?
Roll 20.
Roll 20, so I could roll D10.
Yeah. Yep, you got it. Give me one sec. And Mike rolls a D10.
So everybody take a look on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. You'll see Savage Spooches rolling a D10, a 10-sided die, and he rolled a 6. Michael Spooches, tell us who's lucky number 6 that's winning the prize that I want.
This is awesome. It's our friend who's been very supportive of us, like for both of these. Our friend Zach Cavallo. And he recently got into D&D. He's currently playing his first ever campaign that started like a couple months ago. So now he's got a $25 gift card to probably the best place to buy dice or dice holders or anything like that. So that's a good place to start. So I'll let Zach know right now. So
dude, you're spoiling Zach. Zach's starting at the high end of the food chain for D&D goods.
Yep.
He's not ever going to slum it with the rest of us after this. All right. Exactly. Congratulations, Zach, and thank you so much for your support.
Yep.
So real quick, guys, I think we already sort of talked about it, but before we get started today, I want to thank Corey while I'm not all jacked up on charisma potions. So for those of you that watched our last stream, Sandbelay, got into the charisma potions, and by the end of the stream, was a slurring mess. I have a 1 charisma potion limit today, so I'm gonna be good. So while I'm good, I just want to thank Corey. Both of these guys have been amazing, but it was Corey that was pushing us very early on to stream and do something. And I thought it was silly because I'm Gen X, I'm not a millennial, and I thought it was silly. And who would support us, who would watch, who would give us money. And he kept pushing it. He did all the hard work of like making the connections and, picking CNY Food Bank the last time. And then Spooches just immediately stepped right up and got stickers, helped get stickers made and made connections and got out there. I just came along for the ride, which is not normally the way I roll. And these guys dragged me kicking and screaming into that. And I was so moved by what came out of that I was more than down to clown for round 2. And so I think this is going to be a biannual thing, right? We're going to try to target October, November, into November for the holiday season for the food bank. And then I think in May every year, as long as we do this, we'll rotate Dungeons and Donations. We'll rotate to a local charity. So I just want to thank you guys. And Corey ran an amazing adventure last time. And I'm pretty pumped, although intimidated, to try to live up to the bar that he set, especially with my stumbling doofus mess. Corey, do you have anything to add or say before? And you tell me when you're ready to go, guys. We'll get this thing going.
All I was going to say was this is everybody. Look at this. Everyone's talking about Mike's mustache. I love it.
Yes, I agree.
Love it.
I go, oh!
Bernie!
I was just going to say, Dennis, have we been playing for a full year now? Dennis introducing Mike and I to like one of our favorite games now is a blast, and it's a lot of fun. Looking forward to playing these characters because our one shot was just downright silly. But I'm ready for this. Let's get it on.
Pants Whistletop wishes you well. That's all I'll say. All right. So now, just in case, I know the crew that's watching right now is familiar with D&D, but we're hoping to record this, maybe put it on up for later viewage, and maybe you want to make a donation if you're watching this in the future. If you like what you see, maybe throw a few bucks at Vera House, right? But in case you're new to D&D, the way D&D works, it's a cooperative storytelling game. I am the Dungeon Master, at least for this session. I am the DM. And basically, I act as the computer AI for everything that these folks do. I kind of lay out the choose your own adventure before them, and they make decisions about what they'd like to do. And don't you worry, Riggs and Dragor are going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine, Palmer. And anyhow, the random factor, even more gamified to this, are these beautiful things right here. These 20-sided dice. They'll roll these when they have to make an action, when they have to fight a monster, when they have to win a battle, when they have to cast a spell perhaps, or pass an ability check. And you'll see that if you guys look in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there where it says roll 20, you'll see their die rolls over there, and they'll be somewhere between the number 1 and into the 20s. The higher the roll, the better for them if they're the ones rolling, of course. So there we have it. That's sort of how D&D works, and I have no idea what they're going to do. I have no idea where this story is going to go. Just because I'm the dungeon master doesn't mean I'm not also a player in this amazing game. And they let me choose the adventure, and I have chosen Shemshime's Bedtime Rhyme, a one-shot adventure from Wizards of the Coast, newest book. Well, it was their newest book until Ravenloft came out, but Candlekeep Mysteries, which is, I believe, 17 one-shots. My favorite one that I found in here was Shemshime's Bedtime Rhyme by Ari Levitch, who by the way gave a little like and a shout out to what we're doing today. So there it is, and I cannot wait to run it for you folks. And we're going to start in just a moment. Y'all ready for this? Okay. So does anyone in the chat or anything have any questions, comments, concerns other than the head of Dragor and Riggs before we get started?
Are those characters in your other game?
Yeah, Palmer's got some NPCs that he really doesn't like, and he paid us money for me to kill them in this adventure. So we'll see. And actually, somebody paid good money to have me go. And somebody else paid good money to hear something to the effect of, "Ha ha! Master illusion!" So listen, I checked all the boxes, guys. Except for Riggs and Dragor, they live for life. All right. So why don't we start by, could you guys explain to us who you'll be playing today? Who are these characters that these fine folks are about to meet?
Like, why don't you start first, homie?
Absolutely. So I'm playing a halfling artificer who goes by the name of Edwin Ernest. And artificers, if you're not aware, are sort of a almost science-based magic user, arcane user of the D&D world. And my artificer has a little bit of a twist because in his experiments, he got a little overzealous and tried a potion before it was quite ready, and he may have permanently given himself a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde type situation with a form he can't quite control. Yeah, a form that has these crazy crab claws. He's very Dr. Zoidberg. I'm sure an image will pop up eventually, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, he has a sort of a rage mode that he can't really control. And the first time that happened to him, he accidentally killed the only person around him, his trusty assistant. And after that, he sort of made it his best effort to create a robotic reconstruction of his departed friend, a steel defender sort of based on Shield Guardian technology. And he used even some of his old assistant Nigel's own work in creating this. But when he eventually finished it all and it turned on, it actually, surprising to him, had complete sentience and basically was his exact old assistant, just now in this new robotic body. And that is our friend over here.
So basically, in an attempt to save your village from orc raiders, you made a potion that you thought would protect the people, and instead basically Jekyll and Hyded you into some monster that killed your friend?
Exactly. But then, because he's all about science, every single problem. So he's like, all right, my friend's dead. Science. He's not dead anymore. He's a robot. Or actually, he is a construct. Excuse me. So he's an arcane construct.
So Corey, Nigel is this faithful friend and lab assistant who gets ripped in half by claw-like Hyde Edwin. And when you come to, like, what's now it's Nigel's deal. What's his story?
Well, Nigel used to be the assistant to Edwin, and after that unfortunate night, lucky for Edwin, Nigel has no memory of what happened to him that night. All that happened was that Nigel blacked out and woke up in this suit of armor, right? What did you call it, Mike? You had a great name for it. It was the arcane suit.
It's like a steel defender.
The Steel Defender. And uncoincidentally, I don't think your intentions were to ever resurrect Nigel, right? It was kind of just a mistake when you placed that Nigel's amulet in the Steel Defender. It kind of just brought all of Nigel's personalities to exactly. Kayla got it. She got it. Yep, exactly. Full Metal Alchemist. That is right.
Oh,
so I'm essentially a homunculus trapped into an arm. Hey, man. Hey,
I
man.
love it. Love it.
So Nigel is this like hulking robot beast. So yeah, I'm excited to play him. He's a character.
And mechanically, he is using Tasha's new rules for a custom lineage. So you can kind of play around and build things how you want. Check out Tasha's Cauldron of Everything if you don't have it already.
Yep.
Available at your friendly local game store.
Yep.
All right.
Dang, you got the serious one, bro.
Dude, I don't even play, homie. All right. So, my friends, let us begin. So I'm going to begin spinning the yarn. So just so the friends at home know, Edwin and Nigel, after saving their village by actually utilizing their brand new powers of changing into a creature and this powerful steel defender, they thwarted an attack on their village, a la Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven style. And then it was decided that they would set out in search of answers, a cure. And there's only one place in the realms you go for that sort of information. And that is the most impressive library in all the realms, Candlekeep. So we pick up our adventure as these two amazing friends set out to Candlekeep Library. So with that, let us begin. I'm going to switch us over to the Candlekeep map. Corey, you may have to adjust it for the crew. Did that come up for you guys before I start blibbing and blabbing?
Oh. Yeah, my computer's just being a little slow. Wow, that's such a high-res file. Look at that.
Yeah. So you're going to want to get it out where the peeps can see it.
Take it all in.
All right, so we're going to be, make sure they can see that whole thing. All right, folks. Happy adventuring, friends. So we begin standing atop a rocky crag overlooking the Sea of Swords is a massive citadel of lore and discovery. Candlekeep, the realm's greatest library. Candlekeep, which is visible for miles around, is more city than library at this point. It has endured the elements for centuries and fought off the degradations of time. This fortress of knowledge looks surreal, with the setting sun just starting to touch the sea that surrounds it, bathing both the water and the outline of Candlekeep in a brilliant red and yellow and orange hues, while making the clouds look a purplish gray and otherworldly in nature. The edifice looks like a cake decorated with an overabundance of candles, with a 50-foot high wall outlining the library, dotted with many towers and spires that enclose a space from which even more towers emerge. The sea can be heard rhythmically crashing into the rocks below, sending seawater into the air, painting rainbows across the dying light. The air smells of salt water and of the precipice of rain showers to come as the wind steadily blows inland. Two silhouettes stand atop rock-laden rolling hills overlooking the complex. They stand there taking in the awe-inspiring scene. As the camera moves in to reveal our heroes, Edwin and Nigel, what does it find them doing, my friends?
Well, just off in the distance, you see Nigel and Edwin tinkering with their wagon. You see it kind of looks like most caravans we would see in the Forgotten Realms, but this one has a tiny little 2 horsepower engine on the back of it, propelling the cart. And you see that Nigel is underneath the cart, tinkering as tools and bolts come out, and he says to Edwin, "Can you pass me the sprocket wrench, please?"
Yeah, and I think actually Edwin is actually in the back of the it wasn't a caravan. What do we call it? Like
the wagon.
Cart. The wagon. And he's in the back, and he's trying to clear out like the exhaust back system they have back there, and he's actually using the sprocket wrench at the time, and he just barely could even muster the words because his attention is so focused on his work back there, and he sort of mindlessly regurgitates to his friend Nigel. Now you know this the sprocket wrench is meant for these halfling hands. You're no longer a halfling. You are at heart, but you're meant for the sprocket wrench now. And I kind of hurl a sprocket wrench underneath the wagon for you.
As you hurl it underneath the wagon, it spins and you hear a giant clunk as it hits Nigel's head in the side. And you can't really hear it, but it's just it's kind of like a mumble. "Oh, you know, the sprocket wrench, it's all the same thing. You'll hold one, then the other," as he begins tinkering away. He slides out from underneath it and slaps the engine on the back, and he starts the engine.
So it kind of putters and kind of shakes, and it's like one part combustion that's happening and one part sort of arcane energy that's been infused by our friend Edwin, and it's popping and bumping along, and it begins going down this long, lonely, sort of winding road, and it reaches out over this peninsula that stretches out to where Candlekeep lies. And as you approach, the entrance to Candlekeep is this massive double gate. I'll ping it for you guys. This massive double gate right here. And it's located at the end of a path that's called the Way of the Lion, the road that provides access to and from the outside world. It's the only way in and the only way out. This lonely path sort of cuts across the peninsula where Candlekeep stands and ends at these enormous double-gated wrought of like black metal. It's standing 3 times as high as the average human. It's covered in many powerful magical wards which pulse with both arcane and divine energy. The doors are emblazoned with the sigil of Candlekeep. And as Edwin and Nigel approach, one of these 2 gates opens just far enough to admit them, and a voice beckons them from the other side. "Enter, would-be seekers of knowledge." As they come through the gate, of course, Nigel sort of has to turn sideways and shimmy through in. They see 5 humans, 3 men and 2 women, all dressed in these purple robes. Edwin would probably know these to be the robes of the avowed priests of Candlekeep, the keepers and finders of this knowledge. These specific ones on their robes wear the trappings of Denir, the god of writing, these, in these beautiful purple vestments that they wear. 2 of them approach while the other 3 stay back, and they begin moving into what is either prayer and or spell casting. One of the 2 that comes forward comes all the way up before you and says, "Greetings, would-be seekers of knowledge. Welcome to Candlekeep." And he sort of gestures behind him at the awe-inspiring view behind him. And he says, "Now, please step into the circle of truth and present your admission fee." And as he steps back, a greenish circle begins to form about 5 feet in diameter before the 2 of you. And as you look at it, he says, "I am Gate Warden Kalen Strongbranch, and these are members of the Avowed. Please step onto the circle of truth and present your admission fee. And he gestures towards the other avowed member who came with him. What is it that you do?
I step forward towards this circle of truth, as it were, and I present what is maybe less of a book and more of a like spiral notebook of research notes, and it basically outlines not only like how to build mechanically Nigel, because other people have made steel defenders. I'm sure Candlekeep has some information on that, but it also outlines how exactly he thinks he was able to bring back Nigel's like sentience into this body, and he obviously believes it has a lot to do with this necklace that he chose to use. So yeah, that's kind of all outlined in this research notes that he presents.
So as the second avowed takes the notebook from you, what do you do, Nigel?
You see Nigel just kind of looking around the area, and when the camera goes into a first-person view, you see a very like 80s-esque like AI computer just like trying to scan the environment and not picking up like noticeable architect or where he is, but you can kind of see the latitude on the bottom. So he's just scanning his surroundings is all.
All right. So Gate Warden Kalen Strongbranch looks sideways at his colleague holding the sort of notes of Edwin's book. And he says, now, you know that entrance to Candlekeep, one must present a book that is not held within these walls. Is this truly a book? Now, as you stand on this circle, as you go to open your mouth, Edwin, you realize that you are compelled, unless you actively fight against it, you are compelled to tell the truth.
Well, if it's a hard cover you seek, then I suppose we should turn back now. But if it's useful, new information, that is what I thought this place was really all about, I think you'll find exactly what you're looking for in that notebook. Because it explains this behind me. Nigel?
And Nigel just kind of says, hello.
And Gate Warden Kalen Strongbranch says, well, this is the most unusual shield guardian, steel defender I have ever seen, truth be told, but truly their creation is nothing that the libraries of Candlekeep do not hold, my friend.
But have you ever seen a shield guardian turn on and retain a past life based on its amulet? See, this one was once a halfling. And I begin flipping towards the end of the notebook, like past the like engine, the gears at the beginning and like the components, and I'm flipping to like the amulet, and like yeah.
So you see the two of them exchange a sideways glance, and the Gate Warden nods his head, and the avowed brings it to the other three avowed, who are now whispering excitedly. And the three that stayed in the back begin flipping through the notebook like rapidly. And they appear to be casting spells of some sort upon it. And while that's happening, Gate Warden Strongbranch says, now, am I to understand that this construct has sentience?
And just as he says that, he walks up into the circle to show that he is now in the zone of truth, right? To tell honesty. And he says, my name was Nigel. This amulet was given to me by a family member. It's a very precious family heirloom. You see, I worked for Professor Edwin for many years until, you see, I woke up in this body, and I
And I don't understand why, but it is because of my Professor Edwin that I am continued as Nigel today.
Extraordinary. Well, I think and he looks back, and the other Avowed are shaking their heads excitedly up and down. He says, yes, I think this will do just fine. Now I suppose we must go through the orders of accordance with you then, if you are to receive entry into Candlekeep. And he says, yes, first things first, teleporting of any kind is magically limited, so please don't even try. And any fire larger than a candle will not light, and if you attempt to do so, you will immediately be expelled. Now, with the rest of the orders of accordance, of course, there shall be no fighting, no stealing, no copying of books, although notes are fine. Feel free to take as many notes as you will. But if a copy of a book is what you are seeking, you must pay the fee to have one of our scribes copy it for you, including, of course, if you would like a copy of your own work before you leave. Now, the last is the most obvious rule, I would hope. No damaging, marking, or modifying the works here in any way, shape, or form. Now, is this agreeable, and do you promise to follow the orders of accordance?
Yes, we promise.
And you, my construct friend Nigel?
Nigel bows his head and says, affirmative.
Yes. So I suppose now you should head along. This is the busy time of year, so I suggest you go to the hearth and grab yourself a meal and or a drink as the sun is going down. Your 10-day that you are allowed to stay here, your 10-day of research shall begin tomorrow. But in the meantime, catch yourself a meal, a drink, and then you will be beckoned to the house of rest and shown to your room. Good luck, seekers! And the Avowed part ways and smile, and you can just see them in awe of the two of you as you make your way through the Court of Air. So the Court of Air is this, wide courtyard of cobblestone that has been here for centuries. There's not a single weed or tree or anything out of place in this courtyard. As you walk by the smithies and the stables. You see a bath and steam house, which is just closing up for the night. And as you look to your right, you see the pillars of pedagogy where your research will truly begin tomorrow. That is where most of the hard work here at Candlekeep happens. And perhaps of most interest to Edwin as he looks to the west, he sees the emerald door with a lone wizard who always stands guard standing before it. The emerald door is what separates the Candlekeep that most people experience with the pillars of pedagogy, right next to the erudite outfitters and clothiers, where you can buy knickknacks and clothing and various would-be goods in the court there. But through that emerald door is the more expansive and great library, the inner ward of Candlekeep that only a few are allowed to visit. So Edwin and Nigel make their way along, and they pass the House of Rest, where tonight they will sleep. And right next to the House of Rest is the hearth. Now, the hearth from the outside appears to be a very modest tavern that one could find anywhere in the realms, of sturdy construction, to be told. But upon entering the establishment, it's like walking into a pocket dimension, as they quickly realize it's at least 3 to 5 times more spacious than it looks from the outside. It defies logic. Looking around, you could see patrons it's seated in these comfortable round tables with stout wooden chairs, rectangular tables with benches, and at least a dozen soft, cushy armchairs encircling the fireplace in the center of the room. And then at the bar, you see a cornucopia of, wizards, alchemists, scholars. This is sort of like the cantina in Star Wars, but wizards and nerds. And certainly Nigel is getting a lot of interested and excited looks as you make your way through the crowd. But as much as everybody's looking at you, your eyes are drawn to an amazing sight. and everyone seems to be coming up almost like tourists going to sightsee something. You see everyone going to see an ogre. And this ogre is very peculiar. This ogre is wearing what Nigel would certainly know is a headband of intellect, which means this ogre is every bit as smart as Edwin himself. And the ogre has a book that he is currently reading, that he pauses reading to sort of meet with people. And, he's even signed a few autographs. And you hear him referred to as the little one, which is quite ironic because he's big. And he's currently reading a book called Storm King's Thunder by Skyers Fink. And you can hear him, sort of regaling people with stories from Storm King's Thunder. In fact, he tells of how the book, the book follows the exploits of a band of brave adventurers who helped search for the storm giant king named Hekaton, whose disappearance caused great upheaval up and down the Sword Coast some years ago. Yes, now what I find most fascinating about this book is it dovetails and connects with a collection of poems written by barbarians of the North to teach their children to fear misbehaving, for this Yar, this demon will burn them in their beds. Strangely, Yar is one of the heroes that died saving the realms of the Sword Coast, and I'm studying to see if there is a connection between this Yar and these stories that scares barbarians and this Yar that was a hero. The timing seems quite apropos. Yes. And he says, he looks up from the conversation he's having. He says, you there. This is a very strange shield guardian you have. It reminds me of one that I've read about in the wilds of Chult, of Vorn. Vorn was its name. Yes, I believe it achieved sentience at some point. Quite unusual.
And also quite unusual to see an ogre with such intellect.
You noticed. Yes. And before you could say anything else, the room starts to flare with different lighting, and everyone's looking around, and you hear, "Ha ha! 'Tis I, Senbele, master of illusion, here to bedazzle you with my powers." And you see this whole show going on where he's pulling goldfish out of his hat, and then he throws the goldfish into the air, and they turn into birds and fly around the room. And you hear a few people go, enough of that. Enough of that. What some of us are trying to read here. And he's like, are you not impressed? Are you not entertained? And, a kerfuffle proceeds. The two of you, through all of this chaos, find your way to the bar. You have yourself a drink of your choice and some food and whatnot. And that's when you are informed that at the House of Rest, your room is ready. So begrudgingly, for you are quite tired, you depart from this amazing place, and you make a note that you will certainly come back to the hearth every night after your research to learn more from the little one, and perhaps to ridicule and or enjoy the banter of one Sanbalay and see what else this amazing place has to offer. So you're brought to the House of Rest, which, again, much like the hearth, seems like a pretty modest, run-of-the-mill, not on the nicer side inn. But as you enter the House of Rest, you realize it is so much more. There are all these magical wards that people touch, and it opens up a dimensional door where people enter basically into these pocket dimension chambers in which they can stay. And, you're quite taken aback by this. And then there are also regular modest rooms, but you can tell this place is packed. And with that, one of the avowed in purple robes approaches you and says, yes, I would assume you are Edwin and Nigel, our new seekers of knowledge. Is this true?
Greetings, I am
Nigel, and he bows in front of her.
What gave us away?
Oh, so the rumors are true. Huh. Fascinating. A sentient construct. I mean, what do we even call such a all apologies. I suppose one calls you Nigel. Now, I have very, very bad potential news, but I think it's quite fascinating. We have no rooms available, but what we do have to offer is access to the Firefly Cellar. The Firefly Cellar, we've already housed one other seeker there. You'll forgive it. It's quite antiquated and beautiful. We're renovating it right now. It actually has a small collection by Candlekeep standards of our books. So you're more than welcome to begin your research tonight. It has nice sleeping quarters, but of course, it's not our normal arrangement. And as I said, it's being restored to its former glory and actually renovated to be even better. But it's under construction now, so you'll have to forgive the mess and what's happening. But I think you might find it quite fascinating. Do you find this arrangement acceptable?
Nigel looks down and says,
In my new body, I don't need a bed. I don't even need to sleep. So I think the decision's Edwin's here. Edwin, what do you say?
Yes, that's fine. Something tells me I doubt I'll find what I need here as far as books, but any place to start can't hurt.
Oh, I'm so relieved that you find this agreeable, and I think you'll be quite fascinated. I don't want to spoil any of it for you, but I find it quite amazing. I actually wish they would let me keep my chambers down there. So come, and she walks you over to this hatch. And you see there's a series of locking mechanisms on the outside, and she waves her hand and they open up. And then sort of like in our world, like a submarine, she kind of turns this wheel and opens this hatch. And sort of this dim, sparkling light comes from beneath. And there's a staircase leading down. It's a spiral staircase. So as you head down this spiral staircase, so... Corey, you'll have to get the map ready for peeps. So you head down this spiral staircase into, it's not dark, it's lit in a very bizarre way. So you come down this spiral
down here.
This spiral staircase right here. And let me describe what you see. This circular room contains these very unique curved dark wood bookcases. So all of these are bookcases that you see here. It almost creates like a little maze for you to walk through. It's packed with books of all sort of shapes and sizes and ages. Some of them are clearly ancient. And there are all of these flowers in ceramic pots that look fresh and new that line the tops of all the shelves, giving the entire area this sweet fragrance. All the alcoves that you see are spaced equally around the outside, around the perimeter of the room. 4 of them contain these polished bronze statues of various bespectacled scholars and mages of old. And 3 of them hold these huge overstuffed chairs that look perfect for cuddling up in with a good book. However, what takes your attention immediately is the center of the room. In the center of the room is a brass railing that, when you stand by it and look down, you see this absolutely breathtaking sight. So above the railing and just slightly above your heads, hanging from the ceiling, is an enormous stone sculpture of an open book that looks as though the cover is sort of flapping to keep it aloft like it's flying. And it's held up by these 3 really minuscule looking chains, to be honest with you. It's this massive stonework is about 12 to 15 feet across, has to weigh 1,500 pounds easily. And the fact that these little chains are holding it up over a table, no less. And you can see there's a man sitting at the table on the floor below. On the cover of the book are etched the words, "Be curious." And every so often, like arcane light sort of traces over the words, "Be curious," drawing one's eyes to it. The chains and the fittings are latched into a ceiling beam, and they look like they're in pretty bad shape. It's a little dicey looking overall, but breathtaking nonetheless. And as you sort of take all this in and sort of walk about, is suddenly when you hear a voice that you weren't expecting, you hear an old woman, and you hear, "Abdar, dear darling, is that you? Are you back?" And you hear the man at the table below say, "I never left," he grumbles from below. Oh. And she's up on a ladder, and she's this ancient elven woman. I mean, she, by elvish standards, she looks ancient. And she's nimbly on this ladder. It's making you a little nervous. She's like fixing up flower pots and things. And she seems, surprised by your presence. And she says, indicating the room around her, she says, "Oh, visitors! Oh, I was told you were coming. I just forgotten that you would be here. Yes. Forgive me. I am Scribe Varnier. Sorry for the state of things. Or as you can see, the restoration project is a work in progress. But I'll be with you shortly." And she returns back to her work of adjusting flower pots, and she nimbly actually takes her foot. She's on like a ladder that moves on wheels along the bookcase, and she sort of kicks off with her foot on the edge of the bookcase, and the ladder kind of moves down, and she fixes another flower pot up, and she sort of dusts around, and she says, "Well, while you're here, I suppose, actually, would you mind bringing that stack of books right there?" And she points to some that are sitting by where Edwin is standing. "Would you mind bringing those downstairs to Ebda for me? And then I'll meet you there and give you the here and there and what for and what not." And she points to the smile of books. And before you can even answer, she says, "Oh, thank you so much, dearies." And you see the books right before you, Edwin.
Now, I'm like 3 feet tall. How many books is this? Like how?
Probably 20 books.
Is it like the stack like as tall as I am then? Probably like, or like no, probably not that tall.
It's probably up to your chin.
All right. I think
and also you notice right in the little nook you're standing in, see that little square? There's actually a book lift. It's like a basket basically that you could put books in and then lower it down with a pulley system. But there's too many books to put in here all at once.
Okay, yeah. I think I do just like try to like squat down and start picking them up, and the whole time I'm like muttering under my breath like, "I've paid my entrance fee. Why am I working when I've already paid my entrance fee?" And I try to like waddle these books over to this old woman.
Yes, you're right, dearie. This place is a beauty. You are correct. And when you walk over to her with the book, she says, "Oh, thank you. But no. Now, down the stairs, down to Ebda, you'll find him either in the scribe room or at the table doing work. And perhaps what? Why would you carry those? Have your friend carry those. That seems quite silly." Yes.
Yeah, and with that, I drop them right there, and I'm just like, "All right, Nigel, I misunderstood. Will you grab these?"
So just to give you a look at Varnier, this is what she looks like.
Sweet old lady. Look at her.
Oh, you are quite impressive, sir. Yes, look at the size of this one. They told me you are quite impressive, indeed.
The camera pans over to Nigel, and he's just kind of like staring at one of the shiny trinkets sitting on the table over here. And the second she mentions the big one over here, he kind of like snaps to it, and he says,
"Yes, Professor, I went right away. I'll get to the books."
And he walks over and he hoists all the books, and then with his free hand, he grabs Edwin by his jacket and plops him on his shoulder.
All right. So you guys head over to the staircase, and she says, "Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Yes. Now remember, everything has its place and everyone has their role. Carry on now." So you guys head down, and you go downstairs, down the winding staircase, and you enter into a very similar, almost, the floor plan is almost identical down here. And you could see as you get down here the shadow of that large book, looming over the table where this man is working. The musty smell of like old books hangs in the air. I got to imagine for someone like Edwin, it's probably intoxicating, right? Concentric rings of bookcases dominate this entire space with like this heavy granite table occupying the center of the room right under that book. The table would be a circle, save for the sort of 6 semicircle gaps cut into it, to creating space for the chairs to pull up for people to presumably read or eat at, right? Books rest on the table all along this area. And you notice that there's these candle holders at each station, but instead of candles in there are jars that are emanating light.
Nigel's going to. Let's play some D&D. Let's make a investigation check on that.
All right, do the thing.
You see him scanning around the room, and he's just trying to get to see if that's like. Would you say investigation? I'm trying to see if it's some kind of like magic trick or some kind of
either investigation or nature.
We gonna do investigation.
All right, yeah. So you have no clue. There's just so much to take in here with that 5. You have no clue what's going on.
I wanted to see if this was fire. Like, is it? Because they said something about like no fire in here.
Correct.
I see like the nature of this light. So
Correct.
Maybe Arcana to check on this.
Either Arcana or nature.
I'll go with Arcana.
All right. So with that 12, what you realize, guys, is in these jars, okay, are fireflies. Fireflies like you've never seen before. And that's when you notice all of the lighting in this place. Everywhere that you see light emanating from, there are these jars hanging from hooks that are filled with these amazing fireflies. The fireflies that give the firefly cellar its name. And they provide this beyond a natural firefly's light that completely light up this room. And it's really quite breathtaking. And as Edwin points this out to Nigel, him speaking up seems to bring the man Ebder from his studies. He says, could you please keep your voices down? I just put my daughter to bed. This is what always happens around here. I finally get Gelby to sleep, and then someone oaf comes along, and I'm trying very hard to get this work done for Professor Varnier. How am I to impress her with all of these interruptions? And let me give you a visual of Ebder here. So this is what Ebder looks like. He has his purple robes on, and he's hard at work here at the table. He's got book after book in front of him, and he's transcribing all of these notes, and he seems quite miffed by your presence.
Nigel walks over to the desk and grabs Edwin and plops him down in the chair. And Nigel takes the stacks of books and plops it on the table and says, "Our apologies. I believe you ordered these books." And he pushes the books towards him.
He looks completely incredulous as he looks at the stack of books. And he says, "Those books are not for me. Those are for Cthulhu. Who are you?"
"My name is Nigel." And he bows his head.
"And I'm Edwin. We were sent here. The woman above told us to bring you these books. We were told this would be a place to stay. Please treat us like the guests we are."
Professor Varner said, more guests, more seekers. There's work to be done. Why are they first Cthulhu and now? Did I hear my name? You hear from behind you, and coming up the staircase is this amazing sight. a tabaxi woman who appears by by looking at her to be a druid, and she seems quite animated as she. Well, oh, what is this? Oh, and she's like touching Nigel, like just look. Oh, well, this is fascinating. And oh, and what is this? Is this steam powered? Is this arcane? Is this a steel defender? Is this a what? Oh, what is it? Oh, and who are you? Oh, look at your mustache is absolutely stunning. Oh, and she's gesticulating. Oh, look at this. Oh, and more visitors to talk to. And oh, Abner, aren't you ever so excited? And he just shakes his head and goes back to work. He's just, you're completely insufferable, the lot of you. And Cthulhu, I will remind you, Gelby just went to bed, please. And she just blows him off and says, oh, my books, Edwin, Ebner, you got my books. And she begins grabbing them. She goes, I'm researching ancient folklore and ancient magics and druid magics. And it's absolutely amazing. Most fascinating stuff. But enough about me. How rude of me. I'm Cthulhu. Who are you?
Well, I'm Edwin, and this is Nigel.
Greetings.
Oh, it speaks. How fast! It's completely fascinating. I can't believe it. Like, Abner, are you seeing this? It talks. It speaks. It's whoa. And he says, "I wish some of us would not speak." And he goes back to his work.
Cthulhu, my name is Nigel. I am a protector of Professor Edwin. Yeah, I'm actually quite different from a shield guardian. You see, I'm not powered by arcane or steam, but by a halfling spirit. See, I used to be a halfling just like Edwin.
Fascinating. I've studied halflings. I've spent the better part of my life studying, tribal magics, and the halflings are among some of the most magical and lucky creatures. It's absolutely amazing. And she's gesticulating and moving all over the place. And Ebner says, could you please not talk with your hands? It's quite rude. Show some decorum. And she says, psst, Abner, decorum is completely overrated. Life is too short for all of these formalities. You need to loosen up and have some fun. What do you say, Edwin? Don't you agree that we should be having fun in our quest for knowledge, not all stodgy and dodgy like Ebner here? And you hear him tisk tisk and tusk.
As she says that, like turns to look at what about you, Edwin? She notices like Edwin kind of has sort of sunk out of the conversation, and his fascination turned to these like fireflies that are illuminating this place. Is there any that I would like be able to like reach, or are they like behind like some sort of glass?
They're in sealed glass jars. Some are just like classic sort of jars. Others are sort of ornate lanterns, but instead of a flame, they're fireflies. But you take your finger and you sort of tap the glass ones, tink, and they actually get brighter. Oh, she's, yeah, isn't it amazing? Do it again. Do it again. And you tap again, it gets even brighter. And she's like, okay, no, there's more. There's more. Do it again. And when you tap again, they go dim.
Oh, shit.
Like, okay, now wait. Tap it twice really quick. Do it. And Ebner's like, please, people, I'm trying very hard to work. So do you tap it twice?
Yeah. See?
And they begin pulsating different colors and sort of dancing, almost like a disco ball sort of light. He's like, why did Crinkle even teach them to do that? It's so distracting. And Cthulhu says, I actually find it quite comforting. Sometimes I do this when I'm going to sleep instead of turning them off. I do this, and this is what I fall asleep by. It's quite amazing, really.
Amazing it is. I've always been fascinated by the efficiency of nature. It's no offense, Nigel, but it always seems nature has a way of providing what we can't recreate with mechanics. Fascinating.
You see Cthulhu's eyes get huge. She says, it's like you just spoke to my soul. I spent my whole life as a druid studying nature, and that's exactly what they say in the druidic circles as we sit underneath the moonlight and we look at the givings of nature and what it has done for us. It's so much greater than any arcane magic or divine magic. The magic of nature is truly what. And you could see Ebner just and suddenly you hear from behind, Daddy, and he says, "Oh, now you've all done it," and you see this young, just absolutely adorable child run past you and up before Ebner. Let me let me show you Miss Galby.
Yeah, those are razor fireflies, by the way.
Trailing.
I don't mean to cut you off, Dennis, but can we just stop this adventure? And I want to go back to where we met Samblay, and we'll do that adventure instead.
Hey, on the tavern with Samblay adventure.
Hey, can you stop doing everything? We'll just go back to Sam. No, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you.
That whole tabaxi thing was cool, but could we just go back to that tavern with Samblay?
I'm just kidding, dude.
It's only a matter of time.
Hey, Greg, good job with this and all, but like we just want to go to
trailing behind Galby is this clockwork construct that is this hummingbird, which is clearly a gnomish construct, like a toy that is just programmed to follow her around. And she says, "Oh, Father, I tried to sleep, but I had another nightmare. I'm ever so sorry." And you see Abner just melt, and he's like, "Oh, dearest, you'd never be sorry. Were you scared? Is it okay?" And she says, "Well, I feel better now, but I just wanted to see you, and I made this for you." And she hands him this piece of paper. He says, "Oh, dearest, my love, the light of my life, yet another drawing. Let me." Oh, and he sort of looks at it, and he looks a little maybe disturbed, and then he composes himself, and he's like, "Oh, Galby, dear, what is it you've drawn me?" And she says, I don't know. It's a great circle, and I saw it in my dream, and then there's another circle, and it's for crushing things, I believe. It's a crusher. Yes, that's what I will call it. And she takes the paper from him, and she writes in very, she's about 7-8 years old, and sort of more childish handwriting. She writes, with a few backwards letters, the crusher on it. And she says, "I want you to have it. I think it'll keep you safe from the monster I dreamed about." And he smiles, and he says, "Oh, what a gift indeed, child." And he folds it up, and he puts it in his pocket, and he picks her up, and he puts her on his lap. And he says, "Father must continue his work. But seeing as you are awake, you must meet the newest seekers. Yes. Edwin, this is my daughter, Galby. Galby, Edwin."
Galby, it's nice to meet you. Please, do tell about these dreams. I've found dreams are not to frighten the young girl, but often they can inform us. Tell us.
And she says, I don't know. I've been having bad dreams of late, and I draw pictures, and it makes it feel better. And that's all. There's really nothing more to tell. And Crinkle is usually there to help, but I didn't see Crinkle, so I ran here to Father, and it's been most helpful. And I like your mustache. It's quite. And she gets up and she starts poking at it. How do you get it to curl so? That it's quite fascinating,
Clever engineering. And I'll tell you, I do the same. When I have a dream, I often wake up and I begin pontificating on it. I make doodles all the same. No,
I make doodles too, but I've been doing it since yes, I draw as well, and I'm very curious about things like your mustache and imagining and what is that? And she points at Nigel.
And Nigel points at the bird and says,
"And what is this?"
Now, this is also the very first time that Nigel's seen a construct other than him, right? Because everything else has been very humanoid-like. So he is very fascinated to see a little... You said it was a hummingbird?
No.
Yep.
Just zipping around, and Nigel holds his hand out and freezes in hopes that it would land on his hand.
Now, Nigel, I told you, all birds are drones. You've seen a construct bird before. All birds are drones.
So
we know this.
Galby gives a beautiful little whistle, and the bird flies over and lands on your fingertip. And she says, "It talks. Father, it talks."
And Nigel says,
"Does this creature not talk?"
as he kind of tilts his head.
She tilts her head. She says, "No, it's merely a clockwork toy given to me by Crinkle."
This is a toy?
Yes. What are you?
I am Nigel. You see,
nice to meet you, Nigel.
I have a little bit of life behind these eyes.
And he says,
I used to be a halfling very much like Edwin. But now my soul is in this suit of armor.
Amazing. Father, do you think someday I can be a suit of armor? Do you think, perhaps someday I can be inside the bird, and then I could be like Crinkle and like the bird and Galby all at the same time, like Master Nigel. Wouldn't that be amazing, Father? And you could see he's already back into his notes, but her voice pulls him out of it. He says, he clearly didn't hear everything she had to say. And he said, "Oh, yeah, yes, dear, yes, whatever it is you want." And with that, you hear, and you all turn around to see a bird-like creature standing behind you. Some of you may know that this is a kenku. And a kenku is a bird creature that looks like this. This kenku's name is Crinkle, and Crinkle is walking with this stick, and you see Crinkle is using that stick, and she removes one lantern and puts a new lantern up, and she sees that you are all looking at her, and you hear her go, and Galby immediately runs over and throws her arms around this creature. "Crinkle! Oh, Crinkle, I had another nightmare. I'm so glad you are here." And Crinkle puts these would-be feathered arms around her, but you can see that Crinkle must be very old. She has lost most of her feathers, and those that remain are like frayed and disheveled, and she shows all these signs of scratches on her beak and these long sort of gnarled claws. But you see her eyes, which are sort of black and very, very bird-like and distant. When they lock in on Galby, they soften and they become loving, and all the sort of pomp comes out of her body, and she just relaxes, and she embraces Galby, and she starts, and you see Galby just relaxing. And then Crinkle looks up and sees all of you there and is like, "Rah! Rah!" And Ebner's like, "Crinkle, now let us be nice to our guests, and perhaps they can even help you with the changing out of the lamps. And please put Galby back to bed."
No, Corey
couldn't handle the truth.
Yeah, he couldn't handle Crinkle. Now, we haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm assuming Crinkle's first name is Chris.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Also, are you do you do bird calls on your spare time? Because that was so dead on.
Quick question. Did we lose the whole stream when Corey went? Because isn't he streaming it? Did we just lose everything?
I don't think so, because it says live 112 right now.
Hey, folks, we're working without a net here. Rock Falls.
It looks like people are still talking in Twitch, too.
Sorry, guys.
Wait, do people on Twitch see Corey? You just see us too, right? Imagination.
This makes me sad. We were on a roll, brah.
We were on a roll.
We must be butter because we're on a roll. It's not time for our break. This would be a bad place to take our break. We need Corey in the worst way possible.
Corey disagrees with you, actually.
Corey needs a new computer because Corey went down last time on us.
Yeah. At least, the people are still all here.
People, hang with us. Give Corey a second. I believe in Corey. Ah, Corey, huzzah!
I'm back.
Corey just did what we call. Corey just pulled what we call an ozom in the business.
Yep, that's true.
Ozom?
Sorry about that, guys. We are back.
So, did everybody stay with us through that?
Yeah, everybody's still here.
All right, sweet. So, Ebner just asked Crinkle to put Galby back to bed. And Crinkle looks at him, and Ebner says, please, sing her a lullaby, read her a story. And you hear Crinkle say, lullaby, read her a story. And you see her walk up. She kind of moves Galby aside behind her, and she moves over to Nigel. She gets right up to Nigel. Takes the beak. Tink, tink.
And Nigel says,
I would love to read her a story.
Read her a story.
Do you want me to read her a story or put her to bed?
I'll put her to bed.
and Nigel does his patented, grabs her by the shirt and plops her right on his shoulder.
And you hear Ebner go, oh, please, Nigel, we appreciate your kindness, your niceties, but no, Crinkle will do the business. Galby ever so enjoys her company. So if you could, perhaps what you could do for me is change and he gestures, and you see there's a bunch of lanterns that Crinkle has brought up from downstairs. Pardon me, from upstairs. And he says, all of these lanterns need to be changed out. Crinkle will gather them when she's done and put them back for housing. Would you do that for me? It's the nicest Ebner has been to you yet.
And Nigel he's kind of used to taking orders from Edwin. So this is nothing new. And Nigel says,
we would be happy to.
And he bows, and then he kind of like slaps Edwin to do the same thing.
I kind of smile up at him, and I'm like, happy to. Nothing but work since we've been here.
And Cthulhu's like, oh, I can help you. I can show you how to do it. We got to get the stick. Crinkle, you got to give us the stick. And she takes the stick, and Crinkle's like, and Cthulhu just blows her off. And you see Crinkle and Galby head down the stairs where you have not yet been. And Galby turns around and she says, good night, Edwin. Good night, Nigel. I think you and I shall be friends, Nigel. I find you quite fascinating. A very, very curious, wonderful thing you are.
And Nigel says,
good night, Galby. I hope to see you in the morning.
And you see Crinkle put her arm around Galby, and then Crinkle turns, it's like, and they go down the stairs. So you spend the next, half an hour or so, Ebner hard at work. He gets up a few times, and he goes into, there's a door back here that he goes in and out of a few times, and he comes out with different books and supplies, and he continues to work. His hands are all ink stained, and he's just burning the midnight oil. And what happens is you guys take these fireflies down with the stick, and you put them on the ground. As soon as they hit the ground, they kind of go dim, and you can see them get very calm. And then as you put the new ones up, they spring to life and sort of light up the room. And Ebner says, just leave them there. Crinkle's very particular about the fireflies. She will tend to them when it is time. And Cthulhu the whole time is just carrying on about her research and just babbling on, cutting you guys off constantly. She's fascinating and she's fun, but just no sense of decorum, no sense of like letting other people play. She means well, though. She's the sweetest thing. And she finally says, you know what? And now I can show you to your rooms. So let's go. I'll take you down and I can show you. Oh, it's great. Oh, now I get a little nervous. I normally don't like enclosed spaces, but this place is fascinating. So the tunnel, it's a little dicey, but I think we can do it. So come with me. And Cthulhu leads you down the stairs where you saw Crinkle and Galby go. And she leads you down the stairs. And you end up in this very claustrophobic sort of hallway. And, it's really tight for Nigel. It's not a comfortable walk for him. He's, at some points has to go a little sideways. He's kind of scraping the sides of the sparking up a little bit. It's a really tight, claustrophobic sort of walkway. She says, yes, they call this the worm tunnel. It's very cold down here. You're so far below ground. There's a chill in the air. Sort of this low barreled vaulted ceiling, crowds everything into this narrow passage. Light from the firefly lamps that hang here are actually inadequate to light this. It's kind of a gloomy, dark place. But when you get to the end of the hallway and you open up, she opens up the door and you guys enter into the quarters here. The first place you walk into is a kitchen. And the thing that catches your eye in this little makeshift kitchen is a dirty skillet. Of all things, a skillet stands out amongst this, otherwise pretty immaculate kitchen. It's like actually very well put together. You can still kind of smell like the hints of bacon in the air, sort of probably coming from the skillet. And you see like basically an oven, but there's no signs of an open flame. Edwin, this really catches your attention. It looks like a contraption, an invention of some sort.
Is this convectionary cooking here? And then I maybe do a little investigation check on that?
Yeah, make that roll. So my friends out there in the world, you should see. Corey, can you go to the? Yeah, you should see in the bottom right. He's going to make a roll. Oh, a 21. We're going to use the number on the left. That 21 is a beast roll. You know everything about this thing. It has this because flames are not allowed here. This is a coil of iron that's been enchanted with the heat metal spell, which activates when you toggle like a switch on the side of the oven. When you flip it, and you see how it works. It's such a simple but elegant design. In fact, as an inventor and a creator, the most elegant designs are the simplest things that people just don't think about and see. And, you kind of file it away as like, oh, just a simple use of this spell and, imbuing this metal with this and, having an activator to trigger the spell. It's quite fascinating and clever.
An old looking skillet, you said, or something?
Yeah. Yep.
I think I do. Yeah. He does like have appreciation for the simplicity of it's like sliced bread, it's just like it's perfect. But I think he actually, when he's examining it, it gives makes him smirk a little bit, and he pulls out his patented spricket wrench, and he casts mending on this pan just to try to like clean it up a little bit, like if there's any sort of like rust.
Yeah. So I'm going to have you, no matter what, you're going to make it better. But why don't you make an Arcana roll?
Oh, nice. That I can do. I kind of have StreamYard open. I'm switching between the two, but here we go.
15. All right. So 15 is a solid roll. So tell me what it does.
Like when I clean it up, you mean?
Yeah. Or what is it? What effect does it have?
I think that just like this thing it was like it's a well-made design, well executed. It's just like older at this point. I equate this to like someone restoring like a nice old knife or something like that. It's just like cleaning up this old technology.
It's like one of those late night YouTube videos you watch. You go down a wormhole, and all of a sudden you're watching dudes clean up knives.
You're like, yeah, maybe I'll get into blacksmithing.
So Cthulhu watches with her eyes. She goes, "That was quite fascinating. Would you? It looks like new, amazing." And she's like, "Now, come along." And she leads you down the hallway. And she says, "This right there would have been your quarters." And you look into this room. There's 2 beds positioned on opposite walls, and sort of flanking a wash basin in an otherwise bare room. Both beds are made, and the blankets on one of them is a bit rumpled, but it's a small room. And she says they've authorized using the bigger room that we just refurbished, seeing as Nigel's size and all. And she says, but over here, now that's, and she gestures to the room over here on your right. And she says, that's the avowed Varner's room. And she says, this here is Scribe Ebner's room. And the doors are closed. And then she goes, and this is my room. And she opens the door and shows you her quarters. It's very similar to the room that you were going to stay in, but it just has 1 bed and a wash basin and a writing desk, though, instead of a second bed. And you can see that she's got all her books on there. And you see something that catches your eye, the 2 of you. It looks like an oyster, but it's very similar in design. It's not natural. It looks very similar to the hummingbird that Galby had. And it's just sitting on her writing desk.
It catches Nigel's eye, and without him even asking, he barges into her room and he wants to touch it. He just goes and pokes it.
And she's like, yes, my room is quite stunning. Yes, the books there. Oh yeah, that's my oyster. Watch this. And lying next to the clockwork oyster is a metal key. She takes the key and she twists it, sort of like the way you would wind up like a music box. And then when she pulls the key out, it initiates, and you hear these soothing sounds of the ocean. And you see her just visibly, you didn't realize how uptight and wound she was. You see her visibly just relax. And she's like, sometimes it's the only way I can calm down and go to sleep. Between that and she does the double tap on the jar of fireflies, and they start doing sort of the disco light effect. And she's like, yes, my bed is calling. It's, oh wait, I suppose I should finish the tour first. And the oyster every so often opens its mouth, and the sound gets a little bit louder, and there's like a fake pearl in there, and then it closes up again. And she says, oh, that over there on the left, that's Ebner's room, and I already showed you that. And then the room at the end of the hall, that's Crinkle's room. And this right here is Galby's room. And you see the door is open, and you look in to Galby's room. And you see Crinkle is in there with her, and she's got a book on her lap. And she says, and Galby says, oh, good night, friends. I hope you enjoy your room. And Crinkle sort of waves her clawed hand at you, not like waving at, dismissing you. And you can see that there's toys scattered all over the room. There's an unmade bed. There's piles of clothes sort of obscuring all but a few bare patches of the floorboards. And like above a writing desk dangles a dragon marionette made from brass and wood. You could see the clockwork bird is laying docile on her desk. And then a round firefly lamp, a very ornate, beautiful one, hangs in the opposite corner. And you could see there's all sorts of, you could just barely catch a glimpse of them. There are all sorts of childlike pictures just covering her wall. You can't get a good look at them. And Crinkle begins singing. And she closes the door. She kind of leans over from her seated position and closes the door in your face. And Cthulhu says, well, good night, and this is your room. And she brings you into sort of a bigger version of all these other rooms that you've seen. A beautiful painting of Candlekeep on the south wall looms over the two large beds in this room. A narrow shelf is sort of tucked in the northeast corner, and it has jars of fruit preserves and pickled vegetables that look like they were just put there. And then, of course, firefly lamps adorn all of the walls. And Cthulhu says, well, good night, new friends. I look forward to what tomorrow brings.
And Nigel says, good night. We'll see you in the morning.
Yes, hopefully some research and not all work today, like today.
Oh, yes. It's about time that I have someone that wants to have some fun along with work. And
fun.
She sort of meekly waves and goes into her room. All right. So with that, sleep finds you fairly quickly.
Sleep finds Edwin very quickly.
Now, here's the thing, Nigel. You sort of sit down, and your job, right, is to keep Edwin safe, but also to keep people safe from Edwin. So what does that look like? How do you go about setting up for the night?
Nigel basically just kind of creepily gets a chair and just sits in the room with Edwin as he sleeps. And Nigel is essentially just kind of thumbing through a book that he picked up on one of the levels. And he's just kind of thumbing through it. And you see him scanning each page as he thumbs through it, as he reads it front to back while Edwin sleeps.
Now, Nigel does, much like an elf, Nigel does not need to truly sleep, but Nigel does need to essentially power down. He can still see, he can still hear, he is still conscious, but he needs to sort of to heal and to recharge, he needs to go into a state of deep decompression. He basically needs to power down, not fully, but mostly power down, although he can still hear and see. He doesn't need to do that right away, but he does need to do that for 6 to 8 hours to be refreshed. Edwin, what is it that you are thinking about as you drift, or maybe even what you're being early on about?
Sorry, you cut out for 1 second right there. What'd you say, that last part?
Edwin, as you drift off to sleep, what are you thinking about, and or what do you dream about early on?
Yeah, well, first of all, Edwin's not going to fall asleep in his professor garb, so his laboratory garb. So he does what he always does whenever he needs to change, and he walks over to his friend Nigel and opens up what's like a bit of a drawer from his like back that he could kind of climb up. And you see him hold his breath and plug his nose, and he hops into this little drawer, which he uses almost as like a little changing room. It is a bag of holding he's constructed into his friend Nigel. And he uses it to change into his little sleeping. He's got the little sleeping hat on now, and he's nice and comfy. But yeah, I think he lays down for bed, and his mind's actually spinning because the Tabaxi has been very like excited this whole time. People seem to have like work they want him to do, but he has like high anxiety. He feels like he's a ticking time bomb, and he just wants to hopefully find some answers and like get out of here and hope that Nigel can protect these people like should he have to if Edwin for whatever reason loses control again, even though it's been a little bit.
All right, fabulous. So Nigel powers down, Edwin drifts off to sleep, and as both of you sort of come to in the morning, again, Nigel, you're not asleep, but you're kind of in this comatose sort of state. You hear the skipping of a small child across your doorway, out in front in the hallway, and she's humming a little tune. And you feel it like almost like the tune is crawling into your ears, burrowing in, and you start to almost feel it, like burrowing in. It gets louder and louder. And then you find that you're humming it, both of you. And it goes on and on and on. It echoes and reverberates around your head. And then you just get up, zombie-like, and you walk out of the room. You walk down the hallway humming to yourself, oblivious that you're both doing it. And you come upstairs and you sit at the table where Ebner is, of course, at work. And as you're humming, he looks up in disgust and then goes back to his work. Right behind you is Cthulhu, who also sits at the table. And after your first night in the Firefly Cellar, as you all gather around this table at the center of the collection's main floor, it's quiet until you notice that you're all humming this melody under your breath, the same tune that's been stuck in your head since you woke up. And after a moment, you realize everyone's humming it except Ebner. Ebner looks up and he says, "Oh, please, I'm trying to study here and get work done, and now this is not a time for your games of your enough, please, Cthulhu, for once." And she looks like she can't stop. And he looks down, he begins writing, and after a little bit, he starts humming. And then he's like, "Well, now you've done it. You've given me an earworm." And you see him fighting with his mouth almost. And then in the background, where this, like a movie that we're watching, right? We see in the background the silhouette of Varner walk by and begin going up the stairs. And everyone's humming. And you can hear her humming from the stairwell. And then suddenly you hear clink, 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 clink. And that pauses everyone for a moment. And then they start humming again. So you guys are battling. Would you like to try to stop humming?
Yes. Yeah, definitely want to try. What do you want us to roll?
Okay, so I would like you to make wisdom saving throws.
13.
Yeah, Edwin does not like the feeling of like losing control of himself. So I think he fights violently to resist this. Wisdom saving throw?
Correct, which I believe you make at advantage, don't you?
Is it fear?
It's not fear.
And I think that's the
Okay, never mind then. Go ahead.
It's actually my worst saving throw.
Sorry.
Oh, 14.
Okay, so you both pass and you're able to stop physically humming, but it plays over and over and over in your head. And you can see that Cthulhu is struggling to keep it down. It feels very much to you, Edwin, like when you're concentrating on a spell, how you hold it in your mind and how it's hard to do other things. And almost like you could lose control of this if you were distracted enough or if you tried to cast a spell. And with that, Barnier comes downstairs and she says, I have troubling news. She says, I have locked us in. And she takes her key, and you could see that it's pulsing with arcane energy, and she opens up her pocket and she drops it, and you hear like a loop as it goes into her pocket. Edwin, you recognize that little pop sound that it makes at the end as like a pocket dimension, very similar to a bag of holding. This may be like a pocket of holding, right? And she says, when I first arrived at Candlekeep nigh 600 years ago. The Avowed were concerned about a singing madness that took hold. A book merchant had been afflicted with it and was put in isolation in this very basement at its infancy. And others became afflicted. Other Avowed began singing, and they could not stop singing the song. I do not remember all the particulars, but she pauses and she sort of frowns. I really don't know what happened to him and the others. I believe some disappeared and were never found. Some were found dead. You must forgive me. This was over 600 years ago. She begins kind of losing her composure. You can see she's rocking to, what she's rocking to. Like Ebner's still humming. Cthulhu's still humming. She's rocking to the humming. And she says, gathering her composure, I've alerted the Avowed, and she puts a sending stone on the table. And those of you familiar with magic know the sending stone, she can say something out, and it's like a one-way or two-way phone. They could say something back, and then it's another 24 hours before you can use it again. She says, I've alerted the Avowed, and they've sealed the exit from their end as well to stop this from spreading. We have an obligation to the people of not only Candlekeep, but for the realms. For now, we are quarantined. And Cthulhu's like, I didn't sign up. I did not agree to stay. You can't keep me here. And you hear Varner for the first time not sound kind and loving. And she says, now see here, Seeker Cthulhu. You are a guest here. You are bound by our laws. You will stay here in quarantine. And
you can't strip away our rights like this. These are our rights.
Bidwin,
I won't be muzzled.
She turns to Edwin and she says, suddenly softening her tone, Master Edwin, you forgave your rights when you entered Candlekeep. You stood in the circle of truth and promised to abide by the rules. A man as learned as yourself must understand the danger that this poses. She says, now, I will go to my chambers, and I will ponder upon this. I will not speculate about this madness, for we do not have evidence of what it is.
This is fair. We must trust the experts. We must follow the data. Now,
she says go ahead.
You said this is an occurrence that hasn't been seen for 600 years. This humming that we just partook in was the first of this? Nothing of recent days?
She says, correct.
And you see Nigel stand up from the table without saying a word. And he walks over to the stack of books that he gave
Abner, okay.
He goes to the stack of books, and he's kind of flipping through to see if any of them look out of place. Roll, would you say, investigation check?
Absolutely.
So you see kind of like him start to scan the books as his eyes start to flash a different color. Yeah. 15.
Yeah, you are quite certain that none of these books have been disturbed since, you left them this night. That was a very good idea, though. And Vernier says to you, she says, I must go to my chambers and ponder this, search my memories for information. She says, Candlekeep is the beacon of civilization in this otherwise bleak world and backward world. We must preserve what is here. And she says, everything has its place. My place is in my room, studying and pondering, and everyone has their role. I believe perhaps your role in this, Master Edwin and Nigel, is to use all of this to find the answers. I'm quite certain it is here. And she gestures to the room around her. Would you like to say anything before she leaves?
I think everybody should stay in this room with us. I don't think anybody should leave our sight.
She says, we are locked in here, Master Nigel. I I like the way you think, but to Master Edwin and Miss Cthulhu's point, you are not prisoners here. You may move about, but we will not infect this place further. I will go to my chambers. You will research. I believe in you.
Soon you'll be asking for our earworm vaccination cards.
I award you inspiration. So with that, Varner excuses herself downstairs. Cthulhu's kind of wigging out a little bit. She's like, I'm gonna go to my room too. I'm just gonna go, and I'm in my room. It's everything's good in my room. Like, right, everything will be fine. It'll be good in my room. And she babbles to herself the entire way down. And Ebner, you see him finally stop humming and get control of himself. And he's like, yes, I'm perfectly fine. I will continue my work here because this is my place, Mistress Varner. Yes, my place, Professor. Right? And you can tell he's trying to impress her, but she is long gone. And with that, I will call for our first break, our only break. I wanted to get a little bit further, but I think this is a good time. So we'll take a 5-minute pee and drink break. Everybody at home, if you're interested to see what the humming's about, and I'm telling you, the second half is going to be bananas. So be there or be square, and we're going to give some prizes away, I believe, right?
Yep. When we come back, we are going to do 2 giveaways. And we'll take it, would you say what, 5 minutes real quick?
5-minute break, give away some prizes, jump back into it, and then if you stick around to the end of the stream, might be where some of the best prizes are. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Do you have to be here to win the grand prizes at the end?
No, the grand prize, I think we're just going to pull from everybody that donated. So if you donated, you're automatically entered to win. You don't have to be here.
Fair.
But these next prizes that we're giving away, you got to be here because I'm going to ask for a little bit of participation in the chat. I want to give it to somebody who is here watching right now.
Love it. All right, 5-minute break, people. Set a timer. Like it's going to be legit 5 minutes. So pee, shake what your mama gave you. We'll see you in 5 minutes, peeps.
We are back. What's up? What is cracking?
Hey, what was that? Wait. What was that? What was that comment about the Kenku? Did they say the Kenku made me look fat? That's what I read. Oh, by far. Oh,
by far. Just a little typo. That's all.
No, that's fine. I thought the weekly dice roll was calling me fat. I was like, I'm just big bone, bro.
It's big bone, bro. Bernie with a welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at $2,382 raised for Vera House. That is pretty nuts, right? Tell me that is not crazy,
dude, we're almost at 2,400.
Listen, I'm not trying to put pressure on you guys, but last year we were at 2,600. And if we broke this year, that'd be cool. But if not, I mean, it's all good. We got this far with all the help and support from our friends and family. You guys are too nice to us. So,
wait, and real quick. I'm going to say what I said last time that we did this. It's time to get greedy for charity, right? Like, it's okay. It's okay to get greedy for charity. You guys, if we got to 2601, right? Like $1, 2601. I don't know. I'll do something cool. Like shave my back or something, right? No.
Mandy,
something cool.
Mandy. Oh, we just got a donation from Mandy Segru.
Just says shave that back.
My boy Jim Kern's getting in on it. Jim Kearns, you got to play some D&D with us sometime. And before we do prizes, I promise I'll be quick. One thing that I just want to impress, and I think the weekly dice roll knows what's up, that I just want to preach the gospel of D&D. I truly believe, particularly in these trying times, I'm not exaggerating. I have another group that I game with. A lot of them are here watching today, and I appreciate you guys so much. You're my OG group that I cannot wait to go back into the 9 hells with. We're going into Avernus, boys, at some point. And this group got me through COVID. Like, D&D got me through COVID. No way around it. Just this amazing escape, this storytelling. And now that we're coming out of it, the joy of pretty soon sitting around the table in real life together, creating this shared storytelling experience. There's nothing like it. The power of friendship, as we like to say in this little group right here. So thank you guys so much. And play some D&D.
And you know, not to bring it down too much, but that's what we're here doing, like talking about.
Whoa. Dingus Mahalingus is the greatest name ever, and I know some spooches, and that'll be
good. That's Zach, who won that first Wormwood we gave away earlier.
Zach, you deserve it.
But
sorry,
I think War Benny actually brought it up earlier in the chat, just talking about, like, if you haven't yet donate to Vera House, and he kind of went over like some of the amazing services they provide, and I think that's important too. We haven't really talked too much about like what exactly Vera House does. I don't know if you guys wanted to like spend too much time on that now, but Cody Kelly actually posed a good question when we did this like live stream thing, and he asked about like the effect COVID had on Vera House and the types of calls they were getting and things like that. And I actually reached out to them, and I got an answer on this. And it basically is sort of what you'd expect, man. Like, she told me that they didn't necessarily see like a giant rise in cases throughout COVID, but the types and the like just the types of cases were a lot different, obviously, like with quarantine and things like that. And there were a lot of people who had like a very difficult time with things like domestic abuse, all ages, that were made so much more difficult because of COVID. And like Vera House around here was one of the main resources people had to go to. So they're providing like really good service. So yeah, donate if you haven't already and you have the means. So
for those of you who don't know, in the early to mid 70s, a rape prevention center was started in Syracuse, and then separately Vera House for victims of domestic violence was created by a nun, I believe. And then in recent years, they have combined under Vera House's roof to deal with both sexual abuse and with domestic violence kind of in one umbrella. And they also have outreach programs. They're now dealing with, what some would define as toxic masculinity, helping men be better men, on top of dealing, helping victims and survivors. And it's an absolutely amazing place. And I'm so proud that we were able to raise some money for it. And please, if you need help, reach out to Vera House. They're there for you.
That was the other thing I also said, like, if someone was in one of those situations and like they felt like that's got to be really hard to seek help in that type of situation. And Corey highlighted right there. That's exactly what the woman said. It's like they have all kinds of online services that they had to switch to because of COVID, as well as like the hotlines. So like, yeah, call that number if you need it.
And just to show you the severity of this situation and the need for Vera House, just look over on the right-hand side of the screen there. The fact that they have that quick escape button. So if you're like someone dealing with this, the fact that you might live in a home where just looking this up could get you in some sort of trouble, that you need to be able to click that and make it go away so the abuser can't. I mean, I'm just saying, like, just shows you, look at that. Just the scariness and the need for Vera House. And I'm very proud. And thank you all for being a part of this. Is you folks. We're a conduit at best. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
let's take it up and maybe give away some prizes so I don't get sad and cry. Sorry, Corey, you were going to say something.
I was going to say just one more thing. Just I think it was all to our surprise that when we announced that we wanted to do Vera House, actually from the help and support of you guys voted as like one of the top charities you wanted to give to. And I think Vera helps a lot more people in your life than you might realize. And there might be a reason they're not telling you. But just know that there's people around that love you and care about you, and especially the fact that they have a 24-hour crisis and support line is really big. I put the phone number in the chat, so you should have the phone number if you ever do need it. But you can go to verahouse.org. Has all the information on all the beautiful things that this organization is doing. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Now, let's do...
Hey, Mike, Spooches, can I just say something to you guys? I love you guys. I love
you too, man.
Seriously.
Love you guys.
Somewhere Ken Cronenberg just got freaked out.
Does not come
Nigel,
cute.
no! Oh my God,
don't understand.
Nigel.
He's being Nigel. That's good.
All right.
That should have been Nigel's voice, although that would have been so freaking annoying. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, first prize giveaway. We have a Dungeons & Dragons starter set. So last year we gave a starter set away because we felt like we wanted to get maybe somebody who has not played Dungeons & Dragons into Dungeons & Dragons. And the starter kit has everything you need to do to have your very first adventure. Now, this prize and then our next prize, we wanted you guys to be in the chat because we wanted you guys to participate. But the very last prize tonight, which is the Wormwood dice holder, the dice, and the $50 gift certificate to Comic Zone. Shout out to them, a bunch of lovely people. That is just for anybody who donated. So if you are in the chat right now and you are interested in the starter set, I just want you to put, I want to play D&D. So if you already play a bunch and you guys are in the middle of a campaign, maybe this would be fit for somebody who has no knowledge of D&D because it's kind of a way to dip their toe into it. Or let's do an all-around giveaway. What do you think? Dennis, why do you like this one more than there's the starter kit, and then what's the other one?
The Essentials kit. I love them
Essentials.
both. The reason I like the starter kit better, the only reason, is the adventure that comes with the starter set is one of the best adventures ever made, The Lost Mines of Phandelver. It was the first 5e adventure, first 5th edition adventure that I did. Bryce did an amazing job with it. And actually, I stole all his good ideas to run you guys through The Lost Mines of Phandelver. It's an amazing adventure, and it's an easy-to-run first adventure. So, and by the way, if you don't win this prize, but you want to play D&D and you don't have a lot of money, the rules, the SRD rules that you need are free. You could get enough to play for free, and if you can't afford cheap $5 dice, then you just use on your phone or whatever a random number generator, and you can play D&D. So for free.
All right, so if you just type in the chat starter set, we'll pick a name random, and then we're also the second giveaway here is a copy of Candle Keep Mystery. This is where Dennis got this adventure from. It's the newest one, and what's beautiful about this book is the fact that there are 18 one-shots. So you could literally pick this book up. You would have a one-shot to play with friends. Nice. You got that special edition, dude.
Yeah, man. They made it to look like a book that would actually be on the shelf at Candlekeep. Pretty cool, right?
Nice. I read through the first few adventures, and I love this book. I love the idea that it's just 18 one-shots in one book. You could just pick whatever you want, play the adventure, you're boom, done. So in the chat, you're just going to type in Candle Keep, and we will give you guys a minute to type in Candle Keep, and we will pick a random name for the D&D book. You got calm, dude?
That was Bernie. That was for Bernie.
Bird dog.
There it is. That's what's up.
Bird dog.
I love
Bernie
it.
is one of the most passionate D&D players I know. And by the way, Easter eggs all throughout the beginning of this for my other group especially. And Bernie's character Yar Yar basically wiped out a barbarian village with fireballs. He's a demon. He's an awful, awful halfling. Yar Yar.
Dang.
Yar Yar the terrible.
Dang.
Terrible.
He sounds like Jar Jar, and I'm immediately annoyed and frustrated.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. Yes. Yes. Yes is the answer. And I don't often do it, but I did lie to you guys. This is drink 2 of my charisma potion.
Nice.
Here we go. If we get into drink 3 of the charisma potion, then we got a whole speech about Bryce and how.
Nope. Those days are done.
Yeah, once we hit 2601, we're getting to the third and fourth charisma.
So,
all right, last call for the Candle Keep Mystery.
Yeah, get in there because I want to see where the humming goes.
Last chance for Candle Keep book. Type in Candle Keep in the chat, and we will pick a name here in just a minute. All right, so let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Yeah, 6 people. So I'm just going to roll a d6. Let's see. Ready? 4. Person in line. 1, 2, 3. K-Links.
Oh,
boom.
What's up, K-Links?
Keep mystery book is
cool.
yours. Congratulations.
K-Links, cool. I want you to run Shemshime's bedtime rhyme. Now that you've seen it in action, I want you to run it for somebody and let us know how it went.
That's awesome. Yeah, I work with Kayla. I can give that to her myself. Nice and easy. She actually won some of the stickers last time, actually, now that I think about it.
That's the way, K-Links.
Yep, so she watched this time and last time.
She looks very familiar. Is she a CNS student? You don't need to share her knowledge. She looks familiar, that's all.
Yeah.
Maybe she just has that nice, familiar face.
Could be.
And boom.
Rigged.
Starter kit. Anybody want the starter kit? You guys can donate it. Would a library take this, you think, Dennis?
Yeah. Either that or donate it. Toys for Tots. When that I like buying a few on Amazon for like $8 and throw them in Toys for Tots. Spread D&D that way.
Like it. All you need to do is type in starter kit in the or starter set rather in the chat, and we'll pick the name for this guy.
Listen, if y'all don't want it,
if nobody wants it, it's all Gucci, because then we'll just donate it. Like Dennis said, I'll find an organization to donate it to. Spreading the love of Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons and the power of friendship.
Our friend at Weekly Dice Roll is very experienced D&D player. I noticed he mentioned starter set. Well, now we have a bunch of people, but I just want to point this out. Our friends over at Weekly Dice Roll are they do things like to help teach people D&D, and he's going to have an upcoming one shot with everyone in it. I think it's 3 players. They've never played D&D before, and like the purpose of this stream is like look, we can learn how to play D&D and it can be fun at the same time. It's not sit down and read this giant book and have it be nice and slow. So yeah,
yep.
Put that starter set to use. It looks like a bunch of people are commenting now though.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
We got 4.
Hey, and let us know if we can D4 it then. If we can help the Weekly Dice Roll, amplify what they're trying to do. I'm here for that.
Ready, D4, rolling it. I got a crit 1.
That would be Zach then.
The Weekly Dice Roll.
That's what's up, Weekly Dice Roll. Maybe you guys can turn around and give it away at your stream.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. He said it's this Thursday.
Ooh.
Hey, that's Zach,
before we
right?
go,
Zach,
do we have a link?
Info? Yeah, what's the link on that? What time is it?
I think it's Twitch Weekly Dice Roll. What time, guys? Yeah, Zach that's what I was thinking when he typed it. I was assuming he was going to give it away. That's what I was thinking. That's what he said his plan is.
Give it away now.
Well, there you go, dude. Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, it's twitch.tv
really cool
Weekly Dice Roll, 7:30 on Thursday.
Word.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into some Candlekeep.
Let's do it, baby.
Well,
grand prize coming at the end.
Before we jump back in, does anyone in the chat have any questions, comments, concerns about what's happening? Any questions, comments, concerns? 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, Weekly Dice Roll. We got your back. Anybody else? Anything you need to know? Anything you want to say? Because I got something to say.
Roll,
all right,
baby.
Here we go. Give me one moment, please.
When not even Bernie has something to say, it's time to move on.
Yep. So, again, invading your minds constantly is this tune. You can't shake it, but you're fighting it down. You're physically forcing yourselves. You're concentrating on not outwardly humming this tune. So, everybody seems to have spread throughout the complex. Nigel and Edwin, you stand there with Ebner, sweating profusely. You can see the great amount of focus it's taking for him to just plow through his work. What would you guys like to do? Varnier, has basically told you to figure out what you can figure out.
So this is like right after she left, right? So she just left.
And just to sort of frame where you guys are, you're on the 2nd floor. If you were to go down the stairs over here, you'd end up down where all the bedrooms are. If you were to go up these stairs, you would end up on that 1st floor where you first entered and met Varnier.
He's not still humming the tune, right? Like
he's not. You could see him like choking it down, and he's just writing, but he's writing a lot slower than he normally does, and like taking deep breaths and whatnot.
All right, let's talk out of character real quick. What would be like a good plan of attack? Right, like we're just gonna dive into a bunch of books and just try to read and figure out what's going on with this thing, or I feel like Nigel should go exploring. I feel like we should somebody read the books, one goes explore, or universally splitting up is kind of a bad idea.
He's
Cowards.
Let's see what I'm sorry, what was his name? Barnier
is the old woman.
Yeah, right.
Ebner is the scribe here.
Ebner, this strange event seems like a great disturbance. Why do you not seem concerned? This hasn't happened in 600 years, as I'm told.
I have work to do, as you can see, and Varnier is a great and powerful member of the Avowed. She will figure this out. It is simply my job to do my duty, which is to be a scribe here. And, I've seen nothing unusual aside from you arriving. Perhaps I should be asking you the questions. None of this happened until you arrived.
Well, none of it will be fixed unless we have arrived either, I have a feeling. Now, as a scribe here, you're familiar with this place. What do you know of the last time this thing happened? Are there any books on it?
I know as much about it as you do. I heard the very same thing from Avowed Varnier as you did. I am not 600 plus years old. I know nothing about this. I'm a simple scribe trying to become a much more important scribe. And if you keep interrupting my work, I won't. And he starts humming.
Well, let me break it down, simple scribe. You should know this library, at least this small section of this great place, quite well. This is your area. What can you tell me? Maybe is there a section for history or Candlekeep history or something?
Now you seem to have his attention, and he's like, well, the books are not where they typically would be, as we are in the middle of our renovation and remodel. However, and he begins pointing out to different sections, like, cookbooks and spell books and historical works, fiction, diary entries. And then he says, I could do this forever. Perhaps, though, you'd be better off looking on your own. He says, the only thing unusual around here has been that Kenku has been, and you had seen him before being so loving and adoring towards Crinkle, and now he refers to her as that Kenku. That Kenku's been out and about like crazy, in and out, and he gestures to the door behind him that you've seen him coming in and out of, and he says, yes, she's been in and out of there like crazy very early this morning. Keeps shuffling through the room to her supply closet where she keeps her precious fireflies, and you see him just grabbing his head like he has a pounding headache.
Then it is settled then. I shall investigate her firefly room.
He says she won't like that, and be careful if you go into the scribe room. That first room is where all of my most precious work is. Do not disturb it. I wouldn't even let you in there had Varnier not authorized you to do such a thing. The scriptorium should not be interfered with.
The scriptorium sounds awesome. That's out of character, by the way. That is a great name for a script. That is beautiful.
Could be in character.
So Nigel and Edwin make their way over to the door behind him, and they enter the scriptorium. All around, the fireflies are out of their cages. They're floating around lazily on the air in here, as if there's like a gentle like zephyr just kind of blowing through, and they're like embers caught on the wind, popping up from a fire and kind of floating down. There are 3 writing desks here sitting against the north wall, and it's almost like sort of light is reflecting off of water and then splashing onto the walls, creating like this, sort of speckled light effect. All 3 writing desks are on the north wall, and beneath each is a sheepskin rug. They look very ornate and comfortable. On one of the desks rests a book beside a stack of papers, along with an ink jar with like a stopper in it and a porcupine quilled pen. And then another desk has like a leather case on top of it, and there's this really old looking moldering tapestry, and it's hanging slightly off center on the west wall. And then to the southeast is a wood paneled wall with a closed door set into it. And there's like this weak glowing light emanating from under the door. So there's a door over here with light coming out from under it. There is a just pretty beat up ancient tapestry over here. And then the 3 writing desks with various things upon them.
Nigel goes over to the tapestry and he adjusts it so it's perfectly even.
This sort of thing bothers me very much.
As he adjusts it, it just dislodges from the wall and falls away. And on it, you see this what appears to be a poem, and it looks like it has very recently been scratched into the wall. And as you start to read it, see a mother scything wheat, forgotten husband sleeping near. With one swing she took his feet, with another took his ear. Does the shadow have a name? Shemshime. Causes grief, avoids the blame? Shemshime. See a dog that knows how to heal, never heeds plea nor command. Mother gave it a tasty meal, dog chose instead to eat her hand. Does the shadow have a name? Shemshime. Causes grief, avoids the blame? Shemshime. See a son doing his chore, washing clothes for folk in town. Fell into the river's roar, sank to the bottom and drowned. Does the shadow have a name? Shemshime. Causes grief, avoids the blame? Shemshime. As you begin to sort of digest that, you hear a shrill sound tearing through the Firefly cellar. It overpowers any other noises, though it rises rapidly to an uncanny, like inhuman pitch. Despite that, you recognize it. It is Ebner's voice.
This is from upstairs, you said?
It's coming from right outside. It is Ebner's voice right outside the room.
Okay.
It's this inhuman shrill scream, but it's him.
Yeah, I think mad dash outside.
You guys burst through the room and you see him like convulsing in very unnatural ways, that his head is moving and his body is moving, and he stands up from the chair and he's like trembling like he's having a seizure, but his eyes flip back in his head and they go white and then they pop back and then they're almost bulging out of his face in terror, and he's humming the tune faster and faster and faster. The melody's just picking up and picking up, the rest of his body convulsing and moving, and now he starts to elevate faster and faster, and he screams in absolute terror. While you guys take in this sight, you see the other members of the Firefly cellar burst up the stairs, and everyone is staring at horror, and he starts to levitate up out of his seat. Galby runs over, jumps up and grabs his leg, trying to pull him down. Crinkle kind of grabs her and pulls her back and shields her from the sight as his head snaps back in a very unnatural way and then starts to scan the room. He's going faster and faster and faster.
Nigel pulls out that tapestry and he reads the poem out loud again.
So as you read it, the fireflies in the room start to flicker, and you see the other people start to hum. They're fighting it. They're grabbing at their faces. The two of you are able to concentrate, though it's very compelling that you want to hum along as well. You feel the temperature in this place drop. The books begin to rattle on the shelves. They begin exploding off the shelves. I'm going to need you guys to make dexterity saving throws as books whiz off the shelf right at you.
Rolled a 13.
Just at the last minute, you avoid a whole bunch of books as they whiz by your head. What about you, Edwin?
When Edwin makes this dexterity saving throw, it's like he has these enhanced instincts or something from his strange transformation, and he gets advantage on this.
Sure
He's
does.
a barbarian.
Sure
Multiclass.
does. Danger sense, yes. And it serves you well. You know, you nimbly dodge, you jump over one, you kind of matrix a few others as they fly by. It seems very, other people are being pelted. Varner gets knocked to the ground. Cthulhu, cat-like jumps up on top of the bookshelves and runs across them, dodging books as they fly at her. The whole place is flickering. He's getting faster and faster. He rises up close to the ceiling. He lets out a blood-curdling scream, and then he crashes to the ground in a hump. Just a complete mess, a sweaty, broken mess, blood trickling from his head. Gelby throws herself, "Father, no! Father, please!" And his breathing is very shallow.
You had to bring the kid into this, Dennis?
Brah.
The kid's
This just got
dude.
deep.
Sorry, brah.
Nigel picks up his body and moves it into the Firefly room, the room where you were just in.
Yep. So the lights continue to flicker. Crinkle walks Gelby with you as you bring Ebner into this room. Books are flying at you as you move along. I need you guys to make dexterity saving throws as you move through the books. Crinkle takes a book. Crinkle takes a book to the dome to protect Gelby. Nigel, despite your size, you're quite nimble and able to move out of the way. What about you, Edwin?
I got a 12.
All right, yeah. Actually, no. You take a book right to the dome, and you take 2 points of damage as it smacks you upside the head. And once you bring Ebner's body into this room, the books all drop to the floor. The lights, the fireflies continue to flicker, but less frantically, and they start to calm down. But the room is still cool. You can actually start to see your breath. And Ebner is alive, but his breathing he's struggling.
I think wipe a little blood off my little halfling nose from the book hitting me in the face, and then I bend over and I pull a little vial I have off my hip, and I pour it down his mouth, and this is a level 1 artificer cure wounds.
So ever so slowly, he begins to come back to, and the color returns to his skin, and he's humming very quietly, and then his eyes flutter open. He catches his breath, and what happened? And you could tell he's in a lot of pain, but then you watch as your potion spreads throughout his body, and he relaxes, and you can see the wound on his head heal, and the blood not only dry up, but begin to prestidigitate away. And he's like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then, as everyone takes this in, silently sort of contemplating what is going on, the silence is broken.
So everybody's in the room with us except
Correct.
for that Kinku?
No, the Kenku is in there as well. Cthulhu, the Tabaxi, the cat woman, she's at the doorway. Everybody else is in the room. The silence is broken. The humming in your head starts to sound like a music box or a piano. And then something happens.
The suspense. I'm so nervous right now.
Wait, Corey, you can't hear it?
No, I can't.
Oh, you can't?
You turned your
No,
music
I
off,
hear
I
you.
think.
Yeah, you turned your music off, bro.
I did?
Yeah, I think I watched you turn it off. Your volume?
So as Galby finishes singing the Shemshime bedtime rhyme, suddenly you hear a second voice begin to hum. I hope. You find yourselves all humming. And then now the humming turns into words. You realize now you're all singing. So you continue to hear it in your head over and over again. But then you realize that there are lyrics, but you're not singing them anymore. They're coming from somewhere else. Somebody else or something else it's not just in your head anymore. Something is singing them, and it's close. And what the audience realizes is your shadows, which are dancing eerily in the ember-like fireflies that are floating down, casting these weird shadows on the wall. The shadows move independent of you in different ways. You guys don't notice this. And as it is Varnier that speaks first, and she says, some great evil is afoot. I can feel it. Does anyone else hear? Please tell me I'm not insane. Do you hear it? I can actually hear the words now.
I think, Edwin is very concerned with this, but like with all things, science is the answer. He pulls out like a little bit of a like a radar looking thing, and it begins like spinning around as he casts detect magic to see if he can get any kind of a feel for like what's really going on in this room that's not just spookiness. He wants to know like hard science on this bad boy. So like pulses begin to come out of this contraption he has, and he casts level 1 detect magic.
Yeah, so the magic pings like crazy from the room with the light just coming out from under the door here.
Nigel walks over to the door and he grabs the handle and he flings it open.
When you open the door, a couple things happen at once. First, you get a look in here. This small room is completely awash with the glow of thousands of fireflies, thousands, tens of thousands perhaps. The luminescent sort of insects fit inside like dozens of glass terrariums that just line all of the walls and shelves. And you see like the different lanterns in here, all the different styles and the different jars. This must be where Crinkle sort of fills up the jars and empties them. And then you see shallow wooden boxes that are packed on the lowest shelves. And one of them is kind of pulled out a little bit. And you see like different vials and containers, glass containers in these boxes. So as you kind of take that sight in, as the door comes fully open, what the audience sees is the shadows of everybody start almost like tiptoeing towards them. And with that, the shadows erupt off the walls, off the floors, and you hear Galby scream as her shadow grabs her by the hair and drags her to the floor. Ah! And you see Ebner just pulled to the wall. He's still out of it, and he's being held up by his shadow on the wall. You see Crinkle nimbly, despite her age and weathered look, dodging. Barner's shadow has got both of its arms like around her legs. Cthulhu is able to like dance out of the way and sprints out of the room with cat-like reflexes. Your shadows rise before you. And boys, there's this thing that we do in D&D. Perhaps you've heard of it. It's called Roll Initiative.
Oh shoot!
For those of you, yes. For the uninitiated, see what I did there? Initiative means we are entering into combat. So the game sort of takes a turn now as we go from this narrative style to basically turn-based combat. And these shadows want a piece of you boys.
Now, Corey, you rolled a 1, but you're a halfling, so you re-roll that.
Do you re-roll a 1 on initiative? I'm going to say yes for today because you guys have RP'd the hell out of things, but I don't think normally. But you know what? All good in the hood. I want you to do it. Do the thing.
I think it's an ability check. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Oh, if it says ability check, initiative, I believe, is an ability check. So let's do it. People who know D&D, you go ahead and correct me. It's all good. I don't claim to know every rule.
Yeah, we go rule of cool here. Oh, especially with this being our first battle. For the length of this this battle, I have a surprise giveaway for you guys watching right now. My dad wanted to give away an LED potion desk lamp.
What?
So during the entirety of this battle, all you have to do is type in potion in the chat, and we'll select a winner when the battle is over. This is really cool because this LED potion lamp, desk lamp thing, you can change it to red, green, yellow, blue, all of that beautiful nonsense. So just type in potion in the chat during this battle. When we're done, we will pick a winner.
Little known fact, it's actually filled with fireflies. Just saying.
It is filled with fireflies.
All right.
Everyone would tell you it's an alchemist flask since he could change what's in it at any given moment. That's just him.
All right. So while this is going on, playing over and over again in your domes is Shemshime's rhyme. All right. So let's do it. The battle is on. So the shadows go first. The shadow in front of Nigel reaches out to attack him. Does a 16 hit you?
I'm sorry, was that for me?
It was.
I have 18, so no.
Yeah, so just at the last minute, you dodge out of the way of your shadow as it tries to grab you. The shadow in front of Edwin tries to attack him. Does a 15 hit you?
It does.
You take 9 points of necrotic damage as you feel your life force just being like ripped out of your body. Furthermore, you have to roll a d4, and you don't want to roll high.
Oh, I got the perfect amount.
Yeah,
4,
that's not
the
good.
highest.
So you have to subtract 4 from your strength score.
Oh, shoot.
It's draining your strength.
Push.
And if a shadow can laugh, it laughs at you.
How much damage did you say that did? I don't see the roll. I'm sorry.
9.
9.
9 necrotic. All right, so, and you lose 4 strength from your actual ability score for now. And now with that, you can hear the other people starting to hum the tune. Some are humming, some are singing the lyrics to Shemshime. Edwin, it is your turn as you feel yourself weaken.
Well, that's quite bad. Well, now with 0 strength and after being attacked, like, he does not have much control over this transformation. When he gets attacked, when the adrenaline starts pumping, it just happens, and he rages out. A shell begins to form around his back. He begins to grow like a tail and like a crazy looking beak. I don't know if you have the picture, but you could pull that up. But he's got 4 crab claws, and he is now in his Path of the Beast form, rage form, and he's going to actually.
So this is like his Dr. J. This is like his Mr. Hyde coming out.
Exactly. Yeah. He's like 3 times the size of what he used to be. He's giant. He has no longer has his like mental faculties or anything like that. But he's gonna take some claw attacks at whatever the shadow thing is.
Yeah, it's your shadow, but now as you change, the shadow changes to match your form. Let him have it.
A crit 1.
So you are a halfling.
Okay, I rerolled. I'm gonna switch advantage on, but actually I'll do it right after this one.
Are you recklessly attacking?
Yes, I'll recklessly attack, but this is the reroll from the 1.
Okay.
Yeah, actually I'll recklessly attack and I'll reroll with a 1, so I'll have advantage on you. So 15 either way.
That's a hit.
Boom. And then I get 1 more claw attack. An 18.
Wow. So that also hits.
I'm sorry. And those do +2 each because of rage also.
So 11 points of damage?
Yep.
All right, yeah. So you cut into and your claw snaps the shadow like in half, and it kind of dissipates for a minute, and then it snaps back together. Are your attacks considered magical attacks in this form? Are you at that level yet as a barbarian where this would be magical?
I believe so because of this beast thing. I believe.
Okay,
so I look it up.
You could tell this thing is not in that great of shape. It's like struggling to hold its form. Anything else you'd like to do?
Nope.
Nigel, you are up.
Nigel is going to, from his back pocket, he pulls what just appears to be the hilt of a sword, and he flicks it on, and this ethereal long greatsword comes out. And then he reaches into his back pocket and he holds just this handle. You see him click a button on, and then a shield emits from the handle. And he takes a swing at the closest shadow near him.
Let him have it.
Gadoosh!
Whoa! So you deal this thing an absolutely mighty blow. However, it kind of like dissipates for a minute as the sword goes through it and reforms. So you definitely hit it and you definitely damaged it, but it didn't do nearly as much as you expected. But it is hurting, and it stands before you. Anything else you'd like to do?
I'm gonna take my second attack.
Let him have
it.
That is also a hit. And same thing. Yeah, you clearly hit this thing hard, but it kind of like moves around the blade a little bit, and it doesn't do nearly as much damage as you would expect, but the shadow's in a bad way. But anything else you'd like to do?
That ends his turn.
With that, it comes right back at you with a vengeance, and it grabs onto you, and it starts pulling like your innards out. Like it reaches in, like through your exoskeleton. It starts pulling stuff out of you. You take 9 points of necrotic damage, and your roll a d4.
That was for me, right?
Yep. Yeah, you lose 4 strength. Your strength score is now reduced by 4.
And how much damage did I take? Would you say 9?
9. The one in front of Nigel, or excuse me, in front of Edwin, attempts to attack. Does a 12 hit you?
No.
So with its claws, it snaps at you, but you move out of the way. People are screaming and starting now to sing the Shemshime song.
I'm going to be honest. You had advantage on that. I recklessly attacked. I don't know. Was that a 16 in that case?
I appreciate your honesty. Does a 16 hit?
Yeah, it does. It does.
You hear Galby singing. You hear the other people humming. The place feels like it's crackling with necrotic energy. You take another 9 damage, and you have to roll a d4 again.
So cut in half because barbarian, and then my d4 again.
So 2 more strength drained away.
That's not good.
You feel yourself weakening, but you power through with absolute rage. Nigel, Edwin, you are up.
Well,
wait, whose turn is it?
The shadows just went, so it should be Edwin's turn. I'm sorry, I got a little anxious.
Yeah, so I am going to just keep on taking these claw attacks now, with not so hot strength over here. Actually crit.
Ooh, crit.
Yeah, so with that crit, you obliterate the shadow in front of you, and as it dissipates, you hear and then it is no more. Anything else you'd like to do? But everyone is chanting and singing, and you feel woozy.
Yeah, I think he does feel like weirdly woozy. I think with his strength draining that much, and just like this intangible thing in front of him is just kind of confusing, and this thing in his ear. And he actually, as a bonus action, is going to he relinquishes his rage. He kind of just falls to the floor for a second. He does it kind of unconsciously, but yeah, his beast form subsides, and he's just a torn up, lab-coated halfling right now, barely holding on to consciousness.
All right, I award you inspiration. Nigel, you're up.
And there's just one more shadow left, right?
Well, there's the ones holding on to other people, but there's one in front of you.
I'm going to actively attacking at the one in front of me. Great sword. Once he takes a swing. Does 11 hit? Misses. He misses and he falls forward, and on the backswing, he misses again, cutting through the shadow. You see the shadow dissipate and then form back into piece.
It also laughs at you, and then it slowly morphs back to the floor and just becomes your shadow. And you feel yourself woozy and weak. The room is sort of spinning with all of the singing and the lyrics, and then the other shadows, just like that, are gone. And the only thing you hear is the singing of the Shemshime song from somewhere, and you believe it's coming from the Firefly room. And you hear Varnier say, "Crinkle, take the child, keep her safe. And Ebner, you watch the door." So Crinkle and Galby leave. Ebner kisses his daughter goodbye and bids Crinkle keep her safe, to which Crinkle says, and Ebner stands by the door out here. Cthulhu is nowhere to be found. So Varnier sits at one of the desks. She looks completely exhausted. And she says, "Please, you must help us find the source of that singing."
That's where's the tabaxi gone? Why she ran away?
I do not know. I will call for her. And she, using her cane, she walks out of the room. Cthulhu, dear, we must stay together in these trying times.
And
Nigel and Edwin, what do you guys do?
We heard the singing from that room, right?
Yeah, you could still hear it coming from that room.
Perfect. So Nigel walks over to the door, and as he grabs the handle, we just got to pick our winner for our potion real quick.
Okay.
We got potion last chance. If you guys want a chance to win at this LED potion desk lamp, compliments of my dad, Mark Lawson. Just type in potion into the chat. We have so far.
I see 6 currently.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. All right, 6 people. Mike, roll a d6 for me, homie.
A 1 again.
A 1 again? That means Cliff,
you deserve it,
dude.
It pays to be first.
There you go. That's what happens when you crit fail. Cliff, congratulations, good sir. You won the potion. I'll connect with you after. All right, so
wait. And Cliff, thank you for all that you've done.
He's donated multiple times on both of these streams, by the way, like before and then while we're playing, he's donated again, I think both of these streams. So
and he's helped amplify what we're doing. I mean, what a good dude. Thank you so much. I hope we can meet in person for a drink or a game sometime, Cliff. All right. What was your question, Mr. Corey?
I was just going to say, and then the scene starts back up as Nigel goes to open the door and rips open the firefly room.
Right. So again, it's just all these different terrariums just filled with these fireflies, and you can hear somewhere in the room, it's muffled, but you hear the singing somewhere in there. There's like these shallow wooden boxes under, like at the lowest level of the shelf here.
If there's loose fireflies, I definitely am taking one and putting in a little jar and keeping it in my little pocket because I like to study bugs. All right. That's coming back enough with me to Fish Skipper Village. Pants, Whistletop's gonna meet him, the whole 9 yards.
Dude, Pants is down.
Wait, Pants is down? Yeah. Pants should be up. All right. Can I just roll a general investigation check in this room? Or
I would very much like you to.
Yeah, 20.
Oh, like a boss. So, Nigel, what are you doing while Edwin looks around, investigates?
It's funny that Edwin took a firefly because you see Nigel also taking a firefly and dropping it into his back, his bag of holding into his back.
Where we cut to the firefly.
Yeah.
With no oxygen. Flittering out of existence, and but actually it's imbued with magic, so it actually survives in this pocket dimension without air.
Lord.
All right,
Nigel's ignorant. Damn it, he doesn't know.
Yeah, no, that's right. He's okay. It's magic. All right. So the first thing that Edwin does is he pulls out the boxes, and he can see that basically what's in these boxes is food and various supplies to care for the fireflies. But then he notices, like, when he moves one of the boxes out of the way, scratched into the floorboards, he sees like something is written there, and it's hard to tell because it looks like it was written ages ago, right? And so like he takes some of the like the dust and stuff that clearly is like food for the fireflies, and he kind of sprinkles it over the wood and kind of pushes it aside like sand over it, and it exposes what it once said. And what it says is "finish the rhyme," and it looks like it was, carved in hundreds of years ago into this wood. And he sees this, and then the voice that is singing gets louder and louder, and that's when he realizes that there's like a loose stone right near there. And it's much too big for Edwin to pull up. But it's loose.
Nigel goes over and...
Yeah. So Nigel rips this loose stone out of the floor beneath the lowest shelf on the east wall. And the singing all of a sudden is crystal clear. Moving the stone aside exposes a pile of bones in a nook that's like 10 feet by 10 feet across and 10 feet deep. 5 feet deep and 10 feet across. There are 3 humanoid bodies in this mass. One of the skulls has a huge hole in the back of it, and that one, smiling at you, it is singing the song Shemshime's bedtime rhyme. Take your brother's tithing wheat. What do you do? Baseman, you fool! Oh, sorry.
As the body is singing the song,
It's just the head.
Just the head. The head is singing the song. Every time it gets to the part where it says Shemshime, you see and hear Nigel repeat that phrase at the same time as Shemshime.
You feel energy building in the room as you do this.
As he does that, he's saying Shemshime because that's the only part he can remember. And
it's in your head. I mean, it's playing on loop.
His eyes get glow brighter, right? Those circular eyes he has goes from dim to bright. And then he pulls out that tapestry from his pocket, that note, and then he chants the Shemshime's bedtime rhyme the same time as the head, as he's holding the head in his metal robot hands.
As you do that, you can hear now from the other room Varnier and Ebner also singing the song. And you feel like this power building. Edwin, you feel it, and it makes you like sick to your stomach.
I don't know that we should just be repeating the rhyme. We need to finish it. Is it incomplete as is?
And the skull is like picking up steam now. And now everyone is picking up steam, and you can feel it's almost like electricity is in the air. Suddenly you hear dink, 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 dink. And what you realize is the fireflies are all starting to throw themselves. You can hear it coming from the other room too. As the singing picks up, you can actually hear the fireflies everywhere. And it's getting more, and they're changing colors and those sparkly lights. Now it's becoming violent. Boom, 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 boom. And the terrariums are starting to crack. You hear lanterns breaking in the other room, and the fireflies start bursting forth all over you. And the light is flashing, and the room just goes dark, and then it's like a strobe light effect as you guys move around. It's disorienting and terrifying. You feel the pits of your stomach just churning over, and you find that the both of you are now singing Shemshime's rhyme. What do you do with the fireflies going nuts and swarming everywhere?
I'm stuck on this one, buddy. What if, as he's saying the Shemshime's rhyme, Nigel, when it gets to the part where it says, see a mother skeething wheat, forgotten husband sleeping near, with one swing she took his feet, with another she took his ear. Does the shadow have a name? And he says, Nigel. Causes grief, avoid the blame, Nigel.
So with that, Nigel, like you feel yourself like almost like rising up off the ground with this dark power coursing through your body. Edwin, you see this, you feel the words coming out of your mouth. You see the skeleton. If a skeleton could smile, it's smiling as it sings. Edwin, what do you do?
I think when the poem reaches the end, the final Shemshime, there's a shadow.
As it reaches the end, there's like a pause, and then it will start again. But go ahead.
I think in that pause, Edwin just tries whispering bedtime rhyme.
Nothing happens. It just starts the whole process, and now you start to hear Cthulhu's voice. I've got to get out of here. Let me out. You can't keep me here. And you hear Varner like, oh, and there's like a kerfuffle in the other room, but you guys are like intoxicated in not a good way. You're having a hard time, and the fireflies spinning around are making you disoriented. And the skull just looks at you. And every time it like starts singing, like the back of its head that was blown out when it opens its mouth, it kind of personifies that for you. What do you do? Chat, feel free to throw some ideas out if you got them.
Yeah, throw some ideas.
Chat, can we phone a friend right now, please?
You said 3 bodies in here, correct?
Correct, but it's just the one skull that's singing.
Okay.
Ah! You can't keep me here. You gotta let me out of here.
I ain't doing that.
Oh, that's coming from the other room. You guys got your own stuff going on.
Say that again. What did we hear from the
screams and Cthulhu demanding to be let out, and Varner screaming, and Ebner like, no, you can't do that. There's something going on in the other room, but you guys are dealing with your own nonsense right now.
Causes grief. Damn, dude. I don't know.
I know. I just keep rereading the poem.
That's what I got open in front of me. Cliff says, sing the song into the back of its head. So Nigel's going to pick it up. And then
when you pick it up, this thing like snaps at you, and it like spins on your hand, and it kind of tilts sideways unnaturally, and it's like singing, and you can see it coming up. It's the back of its head.
Ew. So then Nigel gets kind of startled by it when it like nips at it. So he takes the skull and he smashes it on the floor.
When you smash it on the floor, everything speeds up. The fireflies go crazy, and you kind of drop to one knee, and then suddenly it all stops. And the fireflies very slowly come out of their nonsense, but now they're just it's like the building is on fire. It's not, but it's like that effect of the way the fireflies look as they're kind of all over the place now. This place is lit up like one part discotheque, one part fire, and you hear the struggle going on in the other room. So as you rush out to the other room, you see Cthulhu has clearly attacked Ebner. He's got a scratch across his face and he's bleeding, and Varner's using her cane to sort of keep Cthulhu at bay, and Cthulhu is biting her lip to keep from singing, and she just slumps on the floor and she's rocking and with her head in her hands, and tears are just pouring down her eyes, and she's singing the song and then biting her lip and then singing her song. You watch her ears flatten and she hisses. And Varner's like, no, Cthulhu. She's like, you must let me out. Oh, open the door, Varner. You have the key. If you don't give it to me, I'll take it from your dead soul. Edwin and Nigel, what do you do?
We must figure the source of this madness.
Yes.
Let's go after each other.
When you say that, Cthulhu didn't know you were there. She's like, wow, and kind of jumps to the side.
Yes, we need to not point blame at each other. We need to figure this out with level heads. Now,
you're gonna let me out, and you're gonna let me out here now. She's got the key. She's got the key. You're gonna give me the key right now. And she sprints. She begins to sprint towards Varner.
Nigel is going to make a grapple attempt.
All right, make that roll. Contested grapple attempt. Remember, your strength is reduced. Did you reduce it?
Oh, it's still reduced, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, I'm at 11 right now. It should be 15.
Okay. So she rolls a 3. So you grab her and bear hug her, and she's like, ah, and she's trying to bite at you, but you're able to kind of restrain her. And Varner's like, do not hurt her. She knows not what she's doing. And Cthulhu seems completely inconsolable. She's out of her mind. And you get the feeling if you let her go, she's going to kill someone.
And you hear Nigel in the bear hug. You just hear the as the pressure stops and maintains a constant PSI level, if you will, of bear hug.
Nice. So what are you going to do about this crazed tabaxi?
I think I would walk over and try to. I would say I don't technically have this on my character sheet here, but I would say that I have some sort of like mechanical version of rope here. You know, something I can jimmy into like these high tech like looking handcuffs that we can restrain her with it.
I'm already trapped in here. You can't tie me up. You can't. Everything's closing in. It's closing. He's here. He's going to be here. He's going to kill us all. You have to let me out.
You speak of the one from the rhyme, Shemshime?
Don't say his name. You're giving him power. You must stop.
Giving him power. Is this a demon or something of the sort?
With that, the air around all of you feels thick, and it presses in on you from all sides. And you feel eerie. You feel strange. Your muscles or gears begin to twitch as though something is yanking on you with invisible strings. In fact, you see Varnier move very much like a marionette. She's like, oh no. And you watch Ebner get up, and they look very much like puppets. And suddenly you yourself feel like puppets. You all feel like you're being moved. In fact, your arms are moved apart, Nigel, and Cthulhu drops, and she too, very much like a marionette, begins moving eerily, and you're conscious of what's happening, but you can't stop it. You need to make a charisma saving throw.
Both of us?
Oh, yeah.
Charisma. Nice.
All right. So both of you are moved to do whatever the puppeteer has you do. And you guys begin to attack each other. Nigel and Edwin, you begin to attack each other. And in fact, Edwin, as you are attacking him, you don't see the construct that is Nigel. Oh no. What you see is Nigel the halfling that you tore asunder, a bleeding mess, but it is the two halves of his body are up in grotesque figures, both halves ready to attack you, and you feel the need, you feel compelled to make an attack. Edwin, you're up first. Attack Nigel.
Well, what he's gonna do is he pulls out his dagger from actually, you know what? No. He's gonna rage out and go crab form and attack his friend because you know that's just what happened.
If you don't have it, and I think you do, take inspiration.
Yeah. So yeah, he's raging out and he's going to actually he's gonna take a bite attack at his friend Nigel. 15?
Nigel, is that a hit? No, it is not. So you miss. Anything else you would like to do while having to attack your friend?
No.
All right, you may make another charisma saving throw. All right, you still feel compelled to attack your friend. Nigel, you're up. Now, what you guys can see, now you're still conscious in your head, of what is happening, but your body's being forced to do this. You see Ebner and Varner battling with Cthulhu, but in this very weird marionette sort of battle. Edwin, you're up. Or excuse me, Nigel, you're up.
You see Nigel's arms like in a weird marionette thing, and then the reaches into his pocket and creepily pulls out the hilt of the sword, and the hilt goes to the forehead of Edwin's crab brain as he tries to flick the sword on, and he rolls a 7.
So you miss your friend. He nimbly, marionette style, drops to the floor like in a heap, like he's like a marionette that you just let go of, and then he pops back up. And now Edwin, now you may attack. Actually, Nigel, make a second charisma saving throw first. Okay,
Ooh.
go ahead. Go ahead, Edwin.
Wait, the DC's higher than 0? That's weird. I'll take I think I try to grab him with my 2 crab claws, and I want to take a big chunk out of his face, but I'm going to need to grapple him first. I'll take a little grapple attack at him here. Athletics check.
All right, you're able to grapple him. I hope that's reflective of your reduced strength. So you're able to hold him with 1 claw.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to put that in.
That's right. And then
I don't get another attack, so that's my turn.
Oh, you're not a 2. All right.
I'm just kind of screaming in his face.
Edwin, make a charisma saving throw. All right. So you still are under the hold of whatever this is. Nigel, you're up.
Nigel's going to take another. He's trying to those failed attempts was like him trying to flick on like a lighter. You can't seem to get the click. He's going to try again with a 10. Does not do it.
Okay. Make a charisma saving throw. Nope.
Jeez.
You are still under control. Edwin, you are up.
All right. Yeah. Now that he's grappled, I have him right where I want him.
Attack at advantage, I believe.
Is that only if he's prone?
I believe if he's grappled as well, but I don't know if. Just make the attack. Let's find out what happens.
You know what? This is reckless anyway.
There you go. Save me from myself. 12 doesn't get it done. You bounces off his armor that you made super tight. Make a charisma saving throw. Remember, you have inspiration.
Jesus, man. It's rough.
Yeah, I'll use inspiration on that one. Try it again.
Good douche. You are able. It's almost like you use your claw to cut like imaginary strings, and you are free. When that happens, everybody drops from their strings, if you will, and hits the floor, and everybody's trying to get their composure. And you notice that Galby has entered the room as you guys pick yourselves up and kind of look around at each other. And Galby appears in the doorway. Her face is blood splattered, and it's all down the front of her clothes. She walks over to the table, and obviously her father runs over to her. Galby, my child, what is wrong? Where is Crinkle? And at the mention of Crinkle, she begins shaking, her eyes wide. She's holding a large square book in her hands. And as you look, the edge of the square book, the corner of it, it has this metal spine. Looks mechanical, and the corner of it is covered in blood. And she's very pale. And she takes the book and she kind of throws it on the table. And when she does, it begins playing like a music box. And it is the tune of Shemshime. And the book opens up to reveal this scene. And you hear the song, and Galby sings it one last time. So you see the husband that's been cut by the scythe, his feet cut off. and you see a shadow before the wife. Then you see, as the next verse starts, you see the dog part animate. It's like a pop-up clockwork pop-up book. And you see the dog tear her hand away. And the shadow kind of moves above her. Then the image of the boy falling into the water begins to move. The water reel turns. The boy dunks into the water. And then you see the shadow emerge. And then right there, it just abruptly stops. Just abruptly stops as you look at the book. What do you do? Yeah, you should leave that up. So you're looking at that, and every time it gets through the drowning scene, it just kind of like stops. You could see the gears and stuff stop moving, and it kind of like and starts again.
And it just starts over.
Nigel, there's more to this story, more to this rhyme. You see, the fourth verse, it's missing.
And meanwhile, blood is spilling off the corner of the book onto the table.
Oh, also, by the way, I was a freaking crazy crab a second ago. I think when I cut those strings, I kind of like marionetted downward, limp marionetted. And when I popped up, I was halfling again. And yeah, I'm halfling form over here. It's
okay.
It is, the book itself is bleeding all over the place.
It has blood on it, and the blood is like pouring out of the underside of the book from the corner. And it's, can you make a in perception check for me, Edwin?
They're 18.
Yeah. So the key feature of this book is there's a music box built into it, which then triggers these sort of gnomish, gears to move and whatnot. And you could tell that there's a problem. The box has been damaged in some way, and you think you could fix it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I notice that, and like I start to like look at these gears, and it's like his mind is wrapping around this situation. He immediately pulls out the sprocket wrench, and he starts to like tweak around with like some of the motors in there. And he actually, like, a little bit is reminded of the 10 days he'd spent working on constructing Nigel and bringing him back. But yeah, this is cake work compared to that.
So you have advantage while you're working on that. The other figures in the room are trying to talk to Gelby, who's clearly in a state of shock. And they're like, Gelby, what happened? Whose blood is this? Where's Crinkle? Nigel, while you see Edwin hard at work, and the other folks talking to Gelby, who's not responding, what do you do?
Nigel asks,
does anybody know what happened to the last verse? We're missing the last verse. See, there's 3 verses. Mother scarring, we see cut the husband in half. The dog biting the wife. That's the second one. Third one, see the son doing a chore, drowns. Boy, this fourth one, what? It looks. Do you see the face on the shadow? It seems like it was almost a punishment. Like that's how this ends. Is this last part?
At the mention of the shadow and your voice, Gelby looks up at you and she says, I don't know. It was like we were puppets, and I beat Crinkle unconscious. He may be dead, with the book. I don't know if Crinkle was possessed and trying to hurt me, or if I were possessed, or both. But she might be dying, and it's all my fault. And it's the book. It's something about the book. And, you must do something. Make your check, Edwin, at advantage. It is a dexterity check or an intelligence check. At advantage, Edwin. I can't hear you, bro.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Intelligence. Because I'm using mending, actually.
All right. So, yes. So you feel like it click into place, and you feel like you need to do basically this a couple more times, and it will be fixed. But then you feel like the assault on your mind. You need to make an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, shit. 24.
Okay, you shake it off like a boss, but you still take 7 points of psychic damage as this rips through your mind, and you see flashes of this shadowy figure rising up out of the book, and then you gotta like blink a few times to realize it's not actually there. Nigel is pointed out that, now the other people are looking at the book and like, yeah, like the verses match up with each one of these. Oh, you're very correct. There's no verse that deals with that. What is with the millstone here? The grinding wheat. I don't know. Edwin, make another check to try to fix the book at advantage.
I'm sorry. What was that? What?
You're you're attempting to repair it with an intelligence check.
Intelligence. Advantage. I'm going to click twice.
All right.
20.
Yes. So after a little hesitation, you get it. But again, you make a intelligence saving throw. As your mind is assaulted as you tighten this up some more.
If anyone's built for this job, it is Edwin. He's the master of like freaking trying to keep his mind under control while reconstructing mechanics. Intelligence save. Let's go. Oh, crit fail. Wait, I get to reroll.
You're a halfling, bro, and you have lucky.
Dear God, please save me with that.
Remember, you guys have crit. So God. With that, you finish fixing the book. All right, everybody, here it comes. The book begins to tremble, and its mechanical inner workings squeal to a halt for a moment. Before whirring back to life, you hear the clicks, and a shadow bursts forth from the book like steam from a kettle, collecting along the ceiling until all these wisps of darkness outline this vague human figure. You see before you what can only be Shemshime.
Oh!
Meanwhile, the scenes in the book slowly transform into new images. The first image is of a crab-like Edwin snipping Nigel in half. The second image is Galby bashing in the head of Crinkle. The third image, as the lyrics start to change a little bit, the third image is Cthulhu ripping the other members here to shreds. And then the last image of the millstone maintains what it is and is just shaking and trembling as if it's going to explode. And, in just a minute, you're going to have to roll initiative, but not just yet. So I will give you guys a moment to take all of this in. The fireflies begin pulsing and almost like strobe light again. Galby grabs the book and begins to run. As she does so, you see Shemshime turn his head with his red eyes glaring at her, and he begins to move towards her. He's following her as she runs with the book. With that in mind, let's get to it here, folks. Let's roll initiative. Does the shadow have a name?
I didn't use my action surge yet or my second wind, and I still have. I didn't mark inspiration, but we got inspiration when we started this, right? Because I haven't used that yet.
You sure did, my friend.
That's what I thought. Still subtracting the strength, right?
Correct. You have not.
-4.
You have not
I'm at
healed
11.
back up from this. All right, my friends. Where is Shemshime? There he is. He's gonna roll initiative. All right. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties. This is the problem playing online. All right. So Shemshime forms before you. He's up on the ceiling over you folks, with his red eyes following the young girl and the book. And what did he roll for initiative? He rolled a 14.
And he's like a shadow creature, huh?
Sure looks like it. And he's huge. He's towering. Like he's emanating from the book, like almost like a genie coming out of the bottle. He's like slightly tied to this book. All right. Let us begin the final battle. Edwin, you are up.
I'm up. He was above me.
He's up above the table, rising up towards the large book.
I think that I kind of fall back a little bit. Actually, shit. Am I in range of him right now? I probably am.
You are indeed.
Sorry,
Galby's running this way. Yep. Go ahead.
That was the little girl?
Yep. And he's locked in on her.
I'm going to disengage and follow her closely. And I try to get real close to her. And I say, remember your drawing. Have you seen anything like it in this place? The Crusher.
She's like, no, there's no circular stone. Well, it looks like the Crusher in the book. It looks like the Crusher in the book.
All right, and then I kind of like just try to shoo her this way as I like run this way a little bit with her. But yeah, that was my action.
Nigel, you see your friend trying to help and protect Galby. You hear them talking, and Shemshime is locked in on them. What do you do?
So you said she took the book and ran?
Yes, and he is locked in on her and the book.
I don't know if I can. Can I grapple a shadowy figure? I don't think I can.
You certainly can try.
You may certainly try.
All right. Well, Nigel, I'm going to use my free action to. Nigel's going to say to Edwin,
I think we need to destroy the book. I'll keep Shemshime occupied.
As he tries to grapple him, the spectral spirit. 4. Ain't gonna do it.
No, you go right through him. You have no chance of grappling him. He's like incorporeal.
I had a feeling that shit was happening.
Anything else you'd like to try to do?
Wait, that was a 1.
Oh, you could roll a 1, but it's not going to matter. You can't.
Okay.
You cannot grapple him. All right. Anything else you'd like to do?
That ends his turn.
All right. So the other people disengage and sort of run in terror. Abner's like, Galby, and he's trying to keep his daughter safe. With that, Shemshine turns, seeing as you tried to grab him, Nigel, and Shemshine whispers, and then you hear it echoing in your head. Make a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw. All right, so you fail. You take 7 psychic damage, and you have to make an attack at someone that's near you. And when you spin to attack, though, everyone has run away. So you take a swipe at Cthulhu as she runs by you. You would have lopped her head off had you hit her. And Shemshime's like, and he begins drifting away from you. You may make an attack of opportunity if you would like.
Yep.
You miss. All right. Edwin, you're up.
I think in a real Incredible Hulk-like moment, Edwin actually, for the first time, sort of initiates this transformation a little bit himself. It's like he's choosing to try to tap into this like primordial nature and like harness that adrenaline by being brave and not just like letting it happen when he gets hit by something. So he's going to bust out the old big crab claws, and he is going to start taking some claw boy attacks at this fella. Rage is on. Yes. These are... Oh. All right. Yeah, I'll do it next time. So an 11 and a 19.
Yeah, so you hit him, but your attacks do nothing. You tear into him, and he just whisks them away. They have zero effect on him. You think you have nothing to hurt this creature.
Right. Yep, that's my turn.
And you and Galby continue to run as he follows you through the stacks. He's like, just like in every horror movie, it's moving way slower than it needs to, but somehow keeping right on your tail. Nigel, it is your turn.
So this is the floor below the one with the book?
Yeah,
right?
There's
like
that large book statue is hovering above on the top floor. It's like casting a shadow, especially with all the, remember, it's like a strobe light in here with all the fireflies flickering away. And this is the second level. And then downstairs is where Crinkle's room is and all that, where Crinkle's probably bleeding out.
Like the book is hovering above us, right?
Yeah, and the Galby has Shemshime's book, and Shemshime is following her with the book, and the large book is, yes, directly above this table.
What is the book held up by?
Those 3 really measly chains.
Nigel is gonna use his. You see him reach into his wrist, and he types in a couple things, and he points his wrist up at the ceiling, and he shoots his crossbow, his light crossbow, at one of the chains.
Right,
I'm going to use inspiration on this roll because I really want this shit to work.
You can't roll once. You're a halfling. Roll again.
Oh yeah, God. That's a good point. So
double ones, dude. All right, so with that 20, you hit one of the chains, and it breaks, and the book tilts, and the other 2 chains are struggling to hold on. Shemshine, seeing this, looks at you, looks back at Galby, who's running with the book, and he chooses to pursue her and Edwin. He makes an attack at Edwin. And does a 15 hit you?
Yeah.
He does 8 points of psychic damage to you. And he tries to grab the book from Galby, but she's able to dodge him, and she runs over near the scriptorium there. Edwin, it is your turn. Shemshine is bearing down on you. Galby has sprinted away thanks to your efforts.
Yeah, and like something does seem...
You heard one of those chains pop, and you look up and you see the large book from above kind of teetering.
Right. I do have large crab claws, though, and don't really have much other use with my hands. But I will take my smallest of crab claws. There's one that's like pretty deficient. It's not a big crabby boy.
Grandma Strong Claw.
Exactly. And he's going to grab the one health potion I have, and he's going to chug that real quick as a bonus action. Correct?
House rules, it's a bonus action. Yes, like Matt Mercer does. Yes, so take your health potion.
I'm sorry, what is it again? 1d4 plus?
2d4 plus 2.
2d4 plus 2. So 7.
Yes. That's your bonus action. You still have your action and your movement and any bonus actions.
I want to... She made some distance here. She's up front, up top now.
Yes.
I want to, like, keep him away from this little girl and that book. So I think I'm just going to keep making claw attacks while to try to like hold this guy off and like be a little bit of like a martyr in this scenario.
All right. So are you going to make your attacks or are you just going to hold your ground?
No, I'm going to make my attacks.
Yeah, you miss.
Yeah.
All right, Nigel, you're up. And you see Galby turn the corner with the book, looking panicked and trying to hide somewhere. Her father, Galby, come here. Oh, Galby, we must escape. And she looks confused, doesn't know what to do. Nigel, you have your crossbow out. The book is teetering above. Your friend Edwin is being attacked by Shemshime and looks like he will surely die. What do you do?
Nigel says to Galby,
Galby, come to me. Let me see the book.
She looks at you. She looks scared. Make a persuasion check. She shakes her head. She almost like understands. She bites down on her lip and she comes running and she slams the book down on the middle of the table. It opens up and you could see the clockworks. You know, it's the image of Edwin tearing Nigel apart. The image of Galby beating Crinkle with the book. It's the image of Cthulhu gutting the other people, Ebner and Varner in the room. And then the last image, that grindstone, that millstone starts to shift and change, and it becomes the shape of the large book above you. Nigel, what do you do? Galby puts it down and moves past you.
what was Shemshime's reaction when she slams it down on the
His head
on the table?
snaps around and he sees it on the table. He is locked in on it.
Nigel takes his foot and he raises it into the air and he slams his foot on the book. I don't know how you want me to. Do you want me to roll it as an attack roll? I don't know how you want me to do it.
So you jump up on the table. That's the only way you could do it. It's on the table. And you raise your foot and you attempt to crush the book. Roll it to hit. Yeah, when you step down upon it, it flattens all the pop-up pieces, and then they very slowly pop back up. And Shemshime, smiles, and he begins moving towards you. He hovers over the book, and you see him growing in power, and he does this howling babble into your soul, basically. Make a wisdom saving throw. Wisdom saving throw, Nigel. All right, you fail. You take 21 points of psychic damage, and you fall.
Jesus.
You fall stunned on the ground. As you lay on your back, you look at the book teetering above Shemshime. Shemshime stands over the book. You see his form growing bigger and bigger. Suddenly, you hear Cthulhu go, and her claws, and she begins charging Ebner and Varner, her claws out to kill in her eyes. Edwin, you turn the corner. You see Shemshime on the table. You see your friend down looking up at the book above Shemshime. You see Shemshime on the table growing with power. You see Cthulhu about to gut Ebner and Varner. What do you do?
But the original book, the giant one, is like dangling, right, by two chains?
Yep. Yeah. Up above Shemshime from the first floor.
I think with that ghost running away from him, the
ghost is on the table under the book.
Right. Yeah, I'm currently crabbed out. I'm going to uncrab, as they say, which means exit rage.
Yes.
And Edwin's sort of standing there disoriented, but he's a well-prepared halfling, and he has something reminiscent of like a sniper rifle in his bag. Really, it's just a modified crossbow, but he has something called repeating shot, actually, and it's basically it's like a crossbow that has like a little ball bearing that auto loads into it, and he looks at that chain and he's going to try to take a nice shot at that chain, actually recklessly, because he's a barbarian too. Fuck it.
Come on, baby.
Where do I click? Oh, there it is.
You hit
23.
the final chain. You hear it break free from the moorings, and the book plummets down, smashing on top of Shemshime. Suddenly, there's like a tremor whoosh, through the room. The fireflies all float gently through the air as the humming in your head stops. The music stops. You've all been knocked prone. And then there's just silence. It's over. Shemshime and the book, Shemshime's Bedtime Rhyme, have been crushed. Just like Shemshime was crushed hundreds of years ago under the farmer's millstone. As the mess is cleaned up, Crinkle is found and healed. She was barely holding on to life. As the story is pieced together, Crinkle had fallen in love with this book when she saw it, for Kenku loved shiny objects. And the night you arrived, she read it to Galby, setting these things into motion, although Shemshime had already been creeping into Crinkle's head and Galby's head. You find images all over Galby's wall depicting all these horrific things of Shemshime doing. They're very eerie in this sort of childhood artistry, right? The quarantine is called off and you are set free. You are awarded with 1,000 gold pieces and an extra 10-day in Candlekeep. Your story has become legend and part of Candlekeep itself. And you are tended to, mended. You find out that 600 years ago, when the book vendor came, he had brought Shemshime's rhyme with him, and it had driven him mad. And now this had been unleashed again. So as you're all have survived this, and you're sort of sitting in the hearth, the tavern, sort of wrap this up for me. What's the scene between the two of you, between the people that you experience this with? Give me the little ending, and then I'll give you the ending.
You want to go first, Edwin?
Well, I think for Edwin, honestly, he may not have gotten the technical research that he came here for, but in a very poetic storytelling way, in many ways, he did start to begin to learn to harness whatever this strange power or curse that he's dealing with. So for him, actually, he already feels like part of his job coming to Candlekeep is partially fulfilled, as he feels like he, in those situations, got a little bit of a more controlled, a better control over his strange curse or whatever.
And as Varnier points out to you, you now have 20 days to continue your research. They're basically starting your clock all over again and adding a 10-day on. As you sit there and the little one is doing his thing in the hearth, and there's shenanigans all around you, and people are coming up to you and asking you your tales. And we see how, Edwin sort of, compartmentalizing this. What about Nigel?
You see Nigel he's glad that it's all over, right? Because he doesn't like to see other people suffering, right? And now that they're at Candlekeep, he thinks this is the first time that it's ever popped in his head that maybe living in a shell of something is not the right way to live. He's worried that he might become Shemshime and lose his mind inside of an object that is the Shield Guardian.
Wow. Like Kendrick said, there's levels to it, man. Nice.
Right.
So, as you spend the night in revelry and whatnot, your night from freedom. So what happens is a page, a young boy, comes up to you and he hands you a note. And he says, yes, I was told to deliver this to you. And the note says to come to the back room of the hearth, and I have the answers that you seek. And it's
Nigel,
written in really bizarre handwriting.
Yeah. Another
Nigel,
illusionist show for sure.
And Nigel opens up and he says,
Do you think this might be the answer we were looking for? How to give you more control of that crab body?
I think it's likely that it's just another light show from that wizard Sanbalay.
Well, I do love a good light show. I do love a good magician. I mean illusion.
and they head to the hearth.
So as you head to the back room of the hearth, we cut to, we see the bottom of, the Firefly cellar being cleaned up. We see the remnants of Shemshime's book, which has just been crushed into oblivion, taken sort of to like a top secret vault and put very much like Beauty and the Beast style, like in that glass case that has the rose. They put it in this glass magical case. And as people walk out of the room and go, we can hear the rhyme, the humming slowly beginning to emanate from the glass. And that echo almost, we can almost see it through the air, and we follow it, and it comes back to our friends, Edwin and Nigel, as they go to the back room of the hearth, looking for the person that wrote them this note. The room starts to look very bizarre. It's like hard to see, almost like it's smoky. And then you realize it's not smoky. It's like mist. It's like fog and mist. And as you walk through, it's very like Lion, the Witch in the Wardrobe. As you sort of walk through the mists, and you're very disoriented in where you are. And you see these bat-like eyes glow yellow in the mist, and they look right at you, almost right through you. And then the wings go, and this figure flies into the sky, but you lose it in the mist. And as you're working through, you hear this voice, and you can't figure out what it is. And then it starts to clear up, and you're no longer in Candlekeep. You don't know where you are. You stand before this large structure, and the place feels dark and evil. And you hear, "Ha ha! Perhaps it is you responsible for this illusion." But something tells you this is not an illusion. Something has gone horribly wrong. And with that,
Oh, shit.
we end. This is Wizards of the Coast's new book, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which deals with the domains of dread, including Ravenloft itself, where one Vampire Strahd lives. Who knows where Edwin and Nigel ended up through the mist? It could be one of the many domains of dread. So, and apparently Sambalay's there. Who knew? All right, my friends, I really hope you enjoyed that. I had so much fun. I was so pumped to DM that. And you guys, I mean, I knew you guys would kill it. You two killed it.
That was
fun.
good. Yeah.
That was, you were right, man. That was like a horror like thing. That was nuts.
I feel stressed out right now.
I hope the vibe came through. You never can tell. I felt the tension here as a player DM, but I don't know how it plays to my players. And in a weird twist, we don't play with an audience, right? You don't know how it plays to an audience of people watching. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I had a blast doing it.
Thank you.
Same.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad. That was a really fun adventure. That's for sure. Really had to use the old thinking cap.
If you guys enjoyed it, people in the chat, like you were here to bear witness, right? Like if this was fun and you enjoyed it, I am going to try to talk one or two of these guys into maybe putting it out in podcast form, edited though, edit everything out, make it clean. And maybe even like one of Mikey's beautiful video essays with, whatever over time. And if we do that, I would love you guys to pump it out and share it and convince people that it's worth a watch. I'm very in the moment anyhow. Maybe when I go back, I'm very proud of what we did last time and what we did today, both in the D&D sense and in the charity sense. Which, by the way, what's our final total for tonight?
So we are at, drumroll please, $2,492.
Are you serious, Clark?
Yep.
Wow.
We're like this close to being exactly where we were at last year.
Well,
or all in November.
Well, we do have, didn't you build in like 9 more days to get there?
Yeah, so we still have more days. Have a few more days to kind of pump it out, just a few more, and maybe we'll break November's goal or November's what we raised. That'd be crazy.
It's already crazy. In all honesty, I said to these guys this time around, if we could raise 1,000, that would be more than blown away. And I only was that ambitious because of how November went. Man, you guys are amazing. Amazing. The generosity, people, it's sick. And it just gets me in the feels, the whole thing, at a time when we need community. Hey,
speaking of feels, we have one more giveaway to do. One more.
Good one.
This is for people who donated. This is a wormwood dice holder set. This is the cherry wood case. It comes preloaded with some cool dice that I found at Comic Zone. Right? Those look pretty sick, right?
One of my nerderies.
On top of that, there's also a gift card to Comic Zone in North Syracuse for $50. So, Dennis, since you DM'd, I need you to pick a number for me. 1 out of 49.
Well, before you do that, it's not like some of those are you, and some of them are people who are in there like multiple times. So,
well, I think if people donated multiple times, well, maybe that's dirty. You're right, and I don't mean dirty like people weren't trying to win it. That's not what I meant. Please, right. That's not what I meant. Well, I tell you what. Let's do this. We just re-roll. I'll roll. And we'll just re-roll if it's one of us. Now, it still gives the multiple people an advantage. I don't know. We should have thought about this.
That's all right. I'd say if you donated multiple times, more entries, right?
Yeah, but like some people donated, 150 once, and some people donated 25 twice, which, by the way, please, I hope you guys understand, none of this is a criticism of the way you donated it. Thank you. It's just trying to be fair.
How did we do it last year? I don't remember. Did we just pick somebody randomly? Is that how it happened?
No, I think I made a list beforehand of everyone, and then I just added to it that day. But I mean, it seems like that would probably be the easiest way to do it. Or we could just, I believe it would be 49 minus how many people donated twice? Cliff.
Cliff deserves an extra chance. I stand by it.
Yeah, no, maybe if it is just Cliff, then
if it's only Cliff, rock out.
Yeah, there is a couple of them, but I don't know. I guess if it's just anonymous, then redo it. I guess.
Yes, if it's anonymous, or if it's one of the repeaters, other than let's just see. If it's one of the repeaters, we'll figure it out. Let's just go, right? Let's just do it. Maybe it won't be one of the repeaters, and that just solves the problem. Yeah, so, what are we saying? How many people are in it?
Yeah, so out of 49.
49. So I'm gonna roll a D4. I got a plan here. Because you told me just to pick a number. This is the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go D4. All right. So that's 1. And then, how many people did you say? 50 or 40, whatever?
Yep.
Yeah.
12.
So, whichever way you want to count from, go for it.
I'm kind of dyslexic. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 gets us to anonymous if I go from top down.
All right, I'm gonna roll again. But this time we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna go -1. So 2. And then I'm gonna go, hold on, 20, 26. Please be me. Please be me. Please be me. Please be me.
Oh, Mike Palmer. Mike Palmer.
If he's not out there, he gets nothing. He gets nothing, and he likes it. No, that's not true. That's not true.
He should get it.
Palmer's the
Mike
man.
Palmer. Congratulations, dude. Wormwood. Dude, he's going to – have you guys played real life right there?
No, we haven't played in real life yet with Palmer. We were waiting for, science to kick in and schedules to align. But we're going to play, Palmer and I. Which, by the way,
Palmer,
I look
congratulations.
forward.
Now you got this beautiful ass thing to play with.
I look forward to playing D&D with a bunch of people out here, man. Like, listen, weekly dice roll. I hope we can hook up sometime as a crew and maybe rock online or in person. And congrats, Mr. Palmer. Hey, thank you guys so much for letting me DM. And hey, in November, maybe we're gonna puff give and switch up the DMs. Maybe we'll let you guys vote on DM adventure. Right? We're definitely gonna in November. CNY Food Bank, like that's a staple. I'm in for life on that, and we'll see what you guys want, what the Dungeon and Donations crew wants.
That's right.
Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for participating. It was a blast doing it this year. Still a couple of days left, so if you guys want to donate, you can scan the QR code over here. And you can also visit the website and Twitch. If you put !donate, it'll auto-populate the link for you.
And hey, people that were here, do us a favor. Reach out to us and let us know if you have ideas on how we can make this better for November. Like, did you like the format? Do you have ideas? Would you want more interaction with people that are willing to be here, like being able to buy inspiration or maybe role play a moment or whatever it is, or phone a friend, or like we kind of almost did, just or anything to make the stream look better, run better. If you guys know different, I know Cliff was very helpful with some stuff.
Shout out to Cliff.
Yeah, man. Thank you all.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you guys.
Anything for the good of the order? Can we bro hug?
Bro hug. Bring it in.
Friendship.
Hey, I look forward to seeing what you guys do, putting together something for the crew. And hey, man, I did it without overdoing the charisma potions.
Well done. Well done. All around.
Wait, I'm going to show you guys victory cookies. I'm going to go celebrate with victory cookies.
Yeah.
Same.
All right. Take care. I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you very much,
everybody.
everybody.
Y'all. Yep.